Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Let's see how the voice holds up today. Hi. Yeah, it's a Monday edition of GCR. I am Glenn Clark. And this happens to me. I mentioned it on Friday. Every year around this time where the allergies kick in and you do everything in your power to try to fight against them. You Claritin it up. I've even actually been consuming some hot tea. Oh, and that's terrible.
That one's not good.
I just don't care for hot tea.
Okay.
Like it just does. It's like people that drink coffee. I'm like, for what
Maybe
purpose?
we need to get some honey in here, maybe, I guess. And, I like honey in my hot tea.
I just don't. I'll never It's just you're drinking crap. That's it.
Well, then you got to find something else, I guess. Huh? You want hot chocolate, maybe? I don't think we have hot chocolate, but
No, I'm all right.
I'll take some.
All right. Yeah.
we don't have any.
Get some give them some Dino Nuggets. Yeah, I just like to be able to clear my throat, talk like a person, and not struggle and strain in order to get through it. But that doesn't appear to be in the cards, so I've got that going for me, which is nice. The other problem, of course, being that I don't take a day off. So I knew this was happening.
What happened yesterday?
Well, I also have kids.
Oh.
This is the problem. I knew this was happening.
Oh, so you're yelling.
But on Saturday, of course, I had the Baltimore 10 miler in the morning. A lot of talking there. Then we had a great time hanging out at the poker room at Live Casino and a hotel. Good to see everybody there. A lot of big time prizes given away. That was awesome. I was really mesmerized by how well that whole operation runs. That's crazy, man. It's almost intimidating. You're like, wow. I'm not on that level. We were talking about doing an event where we would play I'd be flushed through in 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Well, yeah, I was there.
Glenn,
and
what happened to
thinking,
your chips? I ate them.
I was like, I think I need to find a way to make real money now, so I can try to play something like that.
Crazy,
I think that'd be fun.
It's wild. It's wild. We had a great day doing that, but a lot of talking there. And then I was at the Let's Go Music Festival on Saturday night.
Did forget about that for you.
What am I to do? Not sing along to Third Eye Blind and Hot Mulligan and Small Pools, and I got the chance to chat with Charlotte Sands for a little while. She's incredible. But I had a great time there. And then Sunday, you're like, okay, now I got a day off. I'm all right. I can get through this. And then, of course, I remember I have 2 small kids. And they don't hear anything I say unless I'm yelling. Which was awkward because yelling wasn't an option yesterday. And then, of course, we had Sunday night tennis last night.
Oh, and a lot of yelling in that. You were doing your best Sabalenka.
I was bad last night. We were playing doubles, and I'm just not a net specialist.
I'm sure it was windy, and
it wasn't,
conditions probably weren't great.
Windy, but it was raining, and so then we had the ball was getting heavy and getting a little wet. It was,
and you guys were on clay, so that didn't help.
Right, correct, all of that. It was just a tough weekend. I had those 70 unforced errors. She didn't really win the match. Ego would have beaten. Yeah. So this is what I've got. This is what I can offer today. And if it's not good enough, then Lord knows. I don't have. You can listen to something else.
Stay here.
Go listen to.
Come on.
I don't know, whatever crap Fox Sports show there is today.
Breakfast
Ball?
Ball?
Sure.
It's a good one.
They can debate.
You don't want to hear Paul Pierce talk about
whether Tyrese Halliburton's a
Aaron
fraud
Rodgers signing with the Steelers? You don't know what Paul Pierce thinks about that?
Really interested in that. A lot to do on the program today. Coming up in just a few minutes, our buddy Mike Bordick joins us. Orioles, all that momentum. It was fun. It was fun, wasn't it?
It was a good run. It was a great run.
Look, man, in most worlds, and I'm writing about it today at PressBoxOnline.com, losing a road series, that happens. It happens. The problem is the Orioles don't have the luxury of, hey, it happens. This is the route. When we talked last week, and when certain guests were dismissive of the idea of the Orioles getting back into the picture to be a serious contender, it had less to do with, is it possible that they could start playing good baseball again, and more to do with the simple reality of the math. And the reality of the math is you can't go lose a series to a bad team in a minor league baseball stadium. You can't do it. You can't have a day where you default back to being the Orioles that we had seen until 10 days ago, and you can't produce a single RBI. Not one. Not one run. It's not a shutout, obviously. They did score a run on a weird double steal error. They didn't produce a single RBI. And again, it's easy to say, well, that happens. That's baseball. You're right. That is baseball. But when you dig yourself a hole that's this deep, you don't have the luxury of just shrugging and saying that's baseball. You have to be on for extended periods to have any hope of being relevant. And the other part is it's easy to say, hey, there's a lot of time left in the season. That's true. But as I'll write about today, the deadline here isn't really the end of the season. The deadline is the deadline. They've got to know that they're in it, legitimately in it, by July 31st. That means, because we can do this math, you've got 1 month and 22 days. That's the time frame by which you've got to be breathing down the neck of 500. And so, yeah, we can say, if you want to say it in a certain way, you can say the Orioles have won 7 of their last 9 games. If you look at through that prism, it's still, and they're coming back home, and good vibes can come with them. It sounds really good. But the reality of dropping 2 out of 3 to a bad baseball team in a spring training stadium is that you don't have the luxury to just say, hey, that's baseball. What faces the Orioles is you've got to be winning consistently. You've got to be swimming back towards 500 by that point in order for it to be argued that you shouldn't move Ryan O'Hearn. Although, if not last week's Ryan O'Hearn. That wasn't a good Ryan O'Hearn. That you shouldn't move Eflin Sagano. That was not yesterday's Sagano. That guy wasn't good either, but you know what I mean.
Earlier in the week, he was all right.
He was. Yeah. Yes, his other start was excellent, but the start yesterday was not so much. So I don't want to overreact to it, and we'll talk to Bordy about it. I don't want to overreact to it and pretend like it's some unmitigated disaster or that it wipes away everything that they had gained. I still think there is reason to believe that they have turned a corner in certain areas, and hopefully that sustains and extends. They got to prove it, and they don't have time to just be. If they just play 500 baseball, it's a dramatic step up from where they were, but it ain't nearly good enough. It ain't close to good enough to dig out of this hole. And that's the reality that faces them. Hopefully they get Jordan Westbrook back tomorrow. That's the word. And while it's neat that Emmanuel Rivera doesn't strike out, I also, boy, I love Jim Palmer's. What is he doing? And I got the exact same question. What is he doing? And I'm not trying to pretend like that would have been the difference in the game because the Orioles didn't do diddly poo offensively, to quote Jim Mora. But that would have been a runner on second base and scoring position. And do you know what Dylan Carlson ultimately did in that at-bat that ended up happening in the next inning?
I believe he got a base hit.
He got a base hit.
Yeah.
And this is not me butterflying affecting it and saying he definitely would have gotten the base hit if Emmanuel Rivera doesn't get thrown out at third base. Yikes. All right, the Orioles did win one game on Saturday night in comeback fashion, which was pleasant. Kind of reminded you of the old Orioles. It got us back to those feelings that we were having during the 6-game win streak. Like, this might be different. Fall behind by a bunch, and it's not over. And the guy that was the catalyst, huge home run that cut it from a 3-run deficit to a 1-run deficit. The only man of the match for the weekend was Laser Ramon Laureano, his second man of the match of the season.
Wow, congrats, Ramon.
We'll do the same thing, by the way. Just because they won some games last week, that doesn't make it.
Life of the board?
The board is still very much at risk.
Okay.
This is a 1-5 week this week. The board's gone next Monday. They had a good week, there's no doubt. But they've got to prove that that's sustainable. A disastrous week, forget it. We're not just going to keep doing this for our health. But kudos to Ramon Laureano and kudos to the Colton Cowser, who hit a home run that I think still hasn't landed yet. Saturday night was fun. The rest of the weekend, not so much. Not great. Was it Heston who struck out first against Mason Miller on Friday night?
On Friday, yes, because he
just
pinch hit.
It was just.
It was. I mean, it looked like me. Yeah.
That's exactly.
Although I might not be able
to
to
be
swing.
fair,
Yeah.
Jackson Holiday also struck out against Mason Miller, but was
Yes.
at least competitive in the at bat. Heston Kjerstad went up, and it was just get this over with. We all know I'm not doing anything here. Let's just get it over with as soon as possible and get on with our day. That Tyler O'Neill apparently
even
was
throwing any of the 105 pitches in that one. That was all sliders.
Oh, was it? I didn't even remember that was the case. It was late on Friday night. I should have been in bed because I had to be up at 5 in the morning. But
But you wanted to watch Heston Kjerstad strike out on 3 pitches.
Why? Who can miss that? Who could possibly miss that? I mentioned Bordick's coming up. Also coming up this morning, we're going to talk some NBA Finals. Last night, what a night for Aaron Wiggins.
Wow.
Awesome to see. Former Terp with a huge performance in Game 2. Of course, everybody from the Thunder. I'll still tell you, man, when they were up 19 with 2:45 left and they started pulling their guys, I was like, what are you doing? What in the world? But turns out they were fine. They were good. 18 points, including 5 triples from Aaron Wiggins last night. We're going to talk about Aaron Wiggins' night on the main stage as Keith Gatlin. Yes, the Terps legend, who was also Aaron Wiggins' high school coach, will join us to tell us about what that night meant for him. And just a cool thing as the Thunder even up the NBA Finals at 1 game apiece. I joked about the French Open. My God. I mean, it was an amazing French Open in general, but clearly championship weekend was phenomenal. Coco rallies from down a set against Aryna Sabalenka, and she wins her 2nd career Grand Slam, her 1st career French Open. And then yesterday, one of the great championship matches of all time. I don't think it tops the Federer-Nadal Wimbledon match, but it's in that conversation, and that's saying something. That match also had, the sun was going down, and there were no lights at the time at Wimbledon, so they didn't know if they were going to have to. So there was the drama of, will the match even finish in time? And, that match, that'll never be topped. But this one, damn good. As Yannick Sinner went up 2-0. Carlos Alcaraz fought back to win the next 3 in dramatic fashion, including saving 3 championship points. In the process, we will talk to Baltimore's own Pam Shriver, ESPN tennis analyst, Hall of Famer, about it a little bit later on. And Mondays normally mean Jeremy Conn, and he's apparently back from Ireland. So we will catch up with Jeremy Conn this morning as well. All of that coming up on a Monday edition of the program. Today's show is also brought to you by Game Day Men's Health. I can't blame Game Day Men's Health for how I performed on the tennis court last night, because I felt great. I was moving. This was not on them. This was on me. I continue to be blown away by how good I feel, how quickly I recover. Typically, I play Sunday night tennis, and I'm still sore 48 to 72 hours later. I woke up today, said, yeah, I'm good. Let's go. If you told me we were going back out to play, I could go back out and play. And I'm turning 42 in September. I appreciate the number of people who are like, no, you're not 42. I'm like, yeah, very much so. Very, very much
I would have
so.
said 41.
Thank
Like
you.
that's.
Well, I technically am, so you'd be right.
Well, you'd be turning 41,
Yeah.
so I look 40 right now.
Game Day Men's Health at Owings Mills. They're there for you, whatever you're feeling as you're a man of a certain age and you're just dealing with what you're dealing with. You're dealing with general soreness. And as always, thank you for your service, General. You're dealing with perhaps erectile dysfunction issues. You're dealing with the stubborn belly fat that, like, when you were younger, you just knew, I gotta go running. I'll take it off quickly. And it's just not happening the same way because your metabolism has changed a great deal as you've gotten a little bit older. They've got you taken care of. Safe space for men to talk about the things that they are struggling with, the stuff that we don't like talking about with our buddies, the stuff that we don't like talking about with our partners. That's the place. Game Day Men's Health. Visit them on the web, GameDayMen'sHealth.com, and you can sign up for a complimentary testosterone test. Or give my friends at Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills a call right now, 443-264-4454. And then come join us for Sunday Night Tennis, because I don't know. It's not going to fix it. I played really poorly last night. I'm not over it. It was I don't want to have to meet the media, because I mean,
but you are obligated to, so.
Oh, I did.
You
I
wanna
held.
find? Okay.
I gathered in the corner. There was a gaggle of reporters there, and I just had to say. At one point, I said, "I'm not playing at the net any longer.
Oh.
I'm not helping.
Wow.
I'm not helping at the net. It's that bad." And I don't know why. I was never great at the net when I was a younger man, but I wasn't this bad. Like if I leave my feet, that ball could go anywhere.
You're saying you're starting to look 42 when you're playing up at the net now.
I don't know if it's not my age.
Oh, okay.
It's just my ability. It's a very difficult thing for a man to deal with. That's a problem. Game Day Men's Health cannot make you a phenomenal tennis player. They can't do that. They can make you recover quicker if you are a phenomenal tennis player. Like, you'll be ready to go back out there and play. If you're not, can't fix that. Cannot fix that. Disappointing night. All right, yeah, mentioned the Thunder. Obviously, on Friday night, the Panthers evened up the Stanley Cup Finals with another overtime. This one was a double overtime win. Game that went on forever. After that late equalizer from Edmonton, I thought, oh, man, they might just be like, there might be something cosmic happening there with Edmonton, right? Not the case. Not the case. So that's evened up. What else happened this weekend? It wasn't a good weekend for the Whipsnakes.
No, unfortunately not.
You might have to stop doing the thing.
No, of course not. That's not the issue.
I don't know if they've earned it.
That's not the. No, they've. I mean, well,
to
listen,
start the season, they scored one goal in the second half against the Water Dogs.
We're supporting the team, and that's how.
I'm fine with supporting the team, but like, they got to get
very
going.
early. It's very early in the
going
season. No, it's early in the season. This is how they started last year too. They started slow. They're playing on.
Yeah, but they were supposed to be able to build off of what they did in the second half last year to be better all around this year.
Sure.
I don't know how I feel about
it. A long off season.
All right, let's talk about the Orioles. They lose 2 out of 3 in Sacramento against the Athletics. Still a better turnaround of late in general. Joining us now, tell us a little bit more about what he's seen from the Birds. He is our friend, Orioles Hall of Famer, 105.7 The Fan analyst, the Baseball Warehouse, the League of Dreams, the great Mike Bordick back with us now here on GCR. Bordy, it's Glenn. What's going on, brother? How are you, my friends?
Hey, Glenn, man, I'm good. Thanks for that long list. And the Be More Baseball podcast.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
And all kinds of other great stuff. But thanks for mentioning that as always.
Always happy to do that for you, Bordy. I'm in a weird place, right? Because, hey, in all, there's a lot of reason to feel good at the moment. But losing 2 out of 3 to a team that isn't very good, I know that happens in baseball. That's the way that it works. The problem I have is that, like, this team, because of the hole they dug for themselves, they don't have really the luxury to just say, hey, well, that happens in baseball sometimes. Well, sure it does, but if it happens to you, you're not going to be able to get out of this hole in time. So I'm trying to remain positive because, in general, the trend is good, but like that to me was a costly weekend when they had the opportunity to sort of sustain this momentum that they had built up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, baseball is all about the timing, who you play and when, and they're playing the right teams at the right time. And that was a much needed, series win. And they were unable to do it, after you thought they might be building a little bit of momentum. What's really concerning, though, to me is just a lack of offense and consistently now for months. Even going back into last year. And I know the Orioles are starting to get healthier, which, indeed, I think brings a little bit of hope because they need some help, obviously, against some left-handed pitching. And everybody that's hurt, is a right-handed bat. So getting those guys back should help a little bit. But the offense is even against, like, the White Sox, the Oakland A's just outscored the Baltimore Orioles in a 3-game series. And I'm not taking anything away from their young talent, but listen, before that series, they were the worst team in baseball. They were worse than the Rockies for a month. They had 3 wins and like 20 losses. Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. So you gotta kick a team when it's down, man. And the Orioles just haven't been able to take advantage of that. The bright spot that made us feel all good was the fact that their pitching started to stabilize, and you gave the offense a chance. And they were still winning games without scoring 5 runs and without getting 6 hits. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, there better be a little bit more concern. I love winning, and that makes everybody feel good. But, my gosh, the total package ain't going to compete in the East. The Rays look good. The Blue Jays look good. The Yankees are just full of thumpers right now, and they're all going to get healthy too. That's the problem. So, the Orioles just got to play better baseball. I like their nice winning streak, sure, but look who they were playing. And hopefully they can get something going against the Tigers because this is a team they should be compared to. But the Tigers have, of course, Skubal and, some other pretty good pitchers to help, kind of make them feel all warm and fuzzy.
Let me cover a couple of things individually, Mike. Last week, Adley Rutschman went 10 for 24. A couple of home runs, obviously, out in Seattle, nearby his hometown. Do you feel like perhaps this is a sign that Adley Rutschman is turning a corner and can be Adley Rutschman again?
Well, I hope so. I hope it just wasn't some home cooking and needing a hug from mom over there on the West Coast. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The baseball players need that too. And hopefully that's enough for him to find some consistency because the Orioles really need him. Listen, the Orioles don't need Adley Rutschman to be the 1-1 right now. They just need him to be a productive offensive piece to help kind of stabilize and get this ship right offensively because they're just so inconsistent, up and down, the lack of getting a big hit. I mean, they were getting big hits in the winning streak, but there were no add-on runs, no tack-on runs, and thank goodness the Oriole bullpen has just been incredible lately.
Yes.
So, they just need that extra offense, and they need Adley to be a part of it.
So the other one that obviously was new last week was the return of Colton Cowser. It looks like Jordan Westberg is slated to join them this week as they return home. Is that combination of Adley Rutschman, Colton Cowser, who hit a home run obviously the other night. That I can't believe they only measured at 455 feet. I'm like, where did it end? And then the potential return, is that enough for you to believe that it can finally start clicking offensively?
Well, I think there are going to be some added weapons, that's for sure. And yeah, that's something to be encouraged about. Hold on one second, Glenn.
You're good.
Yeah, that's for Bordick.
Mike Bordick is with us here on GCR.
I'm sorry, I'm at the Cal Ripken Golf Tournament.
Oh, man.
I'm checking in, and look, Dave Johnson's right here.
You know what? Thank Dave. Dave actually trained my son a couple weeks ago, and was had the patience of a saint in the process.
So we can blame it on him then.
Yeah,
100%. I'm kidding. No, so okay, I'm sorry, I lost that train of thought.
No, you're good. We're talking about the offense potentially turning around with these guys.
Yeah, the guys coming back. Yeah, there's definitely potential right there. Listen here, though. There's a lot more to the game, and I know I'm preaching on the offense needs to pick it up, but they're not playing great defense either. They're just not doing the things that this young team needs to do to look like a winning team and to play like a winning team, to give us more hope. It's one thing to wish on the offense and keep getting big hits and getting all the right-handed bats back, but they just have to play better baseball all around. So, this is going to be – it's not going to happen overnight. We thought it did with a 6-game winning streak, but the reality is when you look inside it all, there's a lot of things that need to start happening a little bit better. And the fact that you had a nice week of starting pitching just isn't going to be enough, because I just don't know that there's enough depth in that rotation.
I understand. Mike, where are you with the struggles of Heston Kjerstad? And I mean, he hit 2 triples in the span of 3 days, which was kind of weird. But other than that, and I get that Mason Miller is going to make a lot of guys look silly, but that was a completely non-competitive at bat with the bases loaded in a 1-run game on Friday night. What is going on, and what do they do about the prolonged struggles of Heston Kjerstad at the major league level?
Well, I think we're already aware and should accept the fact that they're going to continue to develop players at the major league level. The Orioles and us as fans need to find out what these guys can do and can they make these adjustments. Me personally think, of course, I'm all about the defense, and if you can't play defense in the big leagues, then you're a designated hitter. And he hasn't shown a lot of, growth, I think, defensively. So if you want him to be a hitter, then let him just hit. But if you do want him to be an everyday player, I think it's unfair to him to learn in the big leagues, because it's like every night he gets exposed and every night we talk about it, and it's really unfair. If you want him to develop, let him develop defensively in AAA. Give him a whole year, and if that doesn't happen, then you have to look at different things. I heard he was playing a lot of first base too. So I think they're trying, but defense shows up, and it shows up every night, and it's incredibly important. And, the Orioles have given up a lot of runs because of their defense this year. Mm-hmm. And so they just have to make that kind of decision. Me personally, I think when some of the outfielders come back, just explain to them, this is what you got to do, man. And every day you got to go out there and get fly ball after fly ball. I don't know I'm sure he does. I know all these guys work super hard, but this is a guy that literally every day, that's all he's got to do. He should be in the outfield, shagging for the whole group, just getting reads and playing balls, constantly to try to help improve his game. And I say that, and I don't even know, he probably already is. But either way, defense is hurting him right now, and this team.
That part is maybe even more difficult to watch than the offense, Mike. You're right about that. Like, in that ball, there's a fly ball to right field. You just sort of find yourself saying, welp, who knows? Who knows?
Well, and I think, too, man, that he's got to be taking that up to the plate.
Yeah.
It's got to have an impact, because you just figure, oh, my gosh, I just let my team down, and now you're trying to overcome it every time you step up there. And he does not look like the same hitter that I've seen in spring trainings, where he's just relaxed, letting the game come to him, trusting his incredible power and quickness. He's just too jumpy. I've never seen him chase as much as he has, and it's just hard when the game at the big league level, it gets on you, man. It doesn't let you up because it's night after night you're under the microscope. So maybe he's the type of guy that might need that reset that's become kind of common, I think, in all sports. So, maybe just to give him a breather, and because he could help this team. He really could help this team with his bat.
Mike, we're getting closer to the trade deadline, and if the Orioles don't sustain this to get back in, obviously their pending free agents are going to be at the top of the conversation. And Ryan O'Hearn has had an exceptional season, and Ryan O'Hearn has been a revelation since he arrived in Baltimore. That said, I don't know if this is a sign that Ryan O'Hearn should be given like a 3-year, $45 million deal, or if this is probably as good as it's going to be for Ryan O'Hearn. I know how valuable his leadership is. Is this sort of to you, hey, you might just want to sell when selling's at its highest, or do you feel like, and also I know this is complicated because we bring up Kjerstad, Kobe Mayo, that Samuel Basayo is probably going to be here at some point. The at-bats, they've got to come somewhere. Ryan Mountcastle's still here at the moment. Can you extend Ryan O'Hearn? Does it make sense to extend Ryan O'Hearn? Or is this a situation where it just makes the most sense that if you're not in it, you're going to end up dealing him come the deadline?
I think you have to deal him. Listen, we all love O'Hearn. And the things he's doing right now are incredible. And I do believe he deserves a 3-year, $40 million deal, or 45. Let the Blue Jays pay that, because the Orioles need to look within and look at their organization and see where they are right now, because they are getting their butts kicked in AAA. They are getting their butts kicked in Single A. They're 500 team in AA. They need to somehow this is why we bought into all this, for sustainable success. They have lost some of their key pieces to keep building on the sustainable success. So I think with the value they have right now, they can bring some pieces back. And O'Hearn's value, I don't think, will ever be as high as it is right now. And they should be trying to talk to teams about this. And they could bring back, every team's looking for a veteran bat like O'Hearn, So, and I know Mullins. I think it's too bad that Mountcastle's hurt right now. But yeah, a lot of those free agents. I think they have to be careful though, and what's gonna be the most value is the pitching.
Right.
They better be careful about their pitching, because that's what they need, and that's how they're gonna have to figure things out. How they're gonna balance that out.
That's the tricky part, Mike, because to the point, this is not a rebuild, right? Like this is just a hey, we need to get things together. And it's easy to say, hey, Zach Eflin would probably be maybe the top pitcher in demand at the deadline at this point as we look around. But at the same time, you could kind of use a Zach Eflin next year, like to try to go win a World Series. And I would absolutely be that at some point they have to spend money on pitching. That this is they didn't draft pitching for a while. At some point they have to be willing to spend for pitching if they're going to take this to the next level.
Yeah, they're gonna. They are. All teams really do, and it's unfortunate too, because look what just happened to Corbin Burns. This is the highest risk investment in the world right now, a starting pitcher, because at any second their elbow could go, or they could just grab their forearm or shake their head, and that's it. Because you go in there and you get an MRI or whatever, and it shows some damage, and next thing you know, it's in a guy's head and it just doesn't feel right. So under the knife, that kind of stuff. So it's really risky. I hope they start developing their own pitchers. Just get young pitching and try to develop it the right way, because it's sad to say the injuries aren't just happening here in the big leagues. The injuries are happening at every level because of max effort, and they're running out of arms. They need to reinvent themselves for sustainability with their arms. And Sagano should go down and be a minor league pitching coach and teach these guys how to locate a fastball and not worry about your max effort, because all our guys are getting hurt, our top guys. Where is he? Well, he's on the IL. Oh, well, his shoulder hurts, his elbow hurts. Every guy. So an adjustment needs to be made in that capacity. But if they don't change that philosophy, they still need pitching, and they need to develop pitching, because the cost of an ace is so expensive. And young arms, you can run them until their elbows blow, if that's what your philosophy is going to be. But they got to be young. You know what I mean? So the longer you go with a veteran arm, the riskier it's going to be when you think about locking them up to long-term deals.
And Mike, I completely get it, with the flip side being they don't have it, right? Like, they just don't have those young arms. They're not here.
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
this is the reality of the tax that you have to pay because you chose not to draft those arms based on that volatility is like, I know exactly what you're saying, and it's easy to say, hey, the Orioles maybe made a good decision with Corbin Burns. Well, right, but what do they have? Like, that's the flip side is we don't do parades for, hey, this might have been a smart financial decision. Like, you still have to have.
Right. Well, we were expected to. So, we got the expected World Series trophy.
That's not nothing, American right? Yeah, that's right. That's maybe that one will go right up. We'll sell the T-shirts for that. You and I can start a store and sell those T-shirts and see how popular they are.
Well, listen, man, the Orioles aren't the only team that is just clamoring for pitching and figuring out how to do it.
Right.
Why can't they be the team that makes that adjustment? And because Tampa's figured it out. And every year when we think Tampa's done, every year they're there again.
It's nuts, isn't it? It's nuts, man. It drives me crazy. But I also think that might be, Mike, one of the things about this year's trade deadline is that one of the things I remember when John Angelos, I know he's not in charge anymore, but I remember when he said, Baltimore could be the next Tampa, as gross as it sounded to some people, the part of that I liked was the idea of being the team that's coming and going, right? That, like, you are maximizing value. You are trading away pending free agents, but at the same time acquiring players that are under control and might be ready. Like, you're constantly refreshing. And that, to me, might be an interesting way to look at the deadline this year, which is, you're probably going to be trading away pending free agents, but there's no reason to not be in the market for major league players that can help you beyond this year. Even if this year's not going to happen, to look to acquire controlled players as well, I think should be part of the philosophy here.
Yeah, I agree. But this is I think the truth. For a few years now, we've been trying to figure out what the Orioles' philosophy is, and I don't know that they've yet to truly show their hand, other than they're not going to be over aggressive in the free agent market on either ends. Whether it be the trade deadline or in the off season. And that's the only thing we've seen, and the only thing as fans we wanted more of. As far as breaking it down and getting really good at high draft picks, that's all well and good, but figuring out how to keep this machine moving in the right direction is the real answer, right? And they didn't have enough depth to overcome this rash of injuries. So that is a huge sign, a glaring sign that reloading needs to be done. So you get it at your highest value guys. Yeah, I understand the controllable part.
Right.
But it'd be better if it was your own guys you could control.
Mike Bordick, what all are we plugging for you, my friends?
Yeah, you got to check out that Be More Baseball podcast.
I know you.
More Ball
it's weird because I was to understand it was a baseball podcast, and then I saw some guy named DaCosta showed up on it.
Oh man, what a show too! I'm a big fan of his. He went to school up in Maine. He did not go to the University of Maine. He went to Colby, just a small kind of school there, a little private school. Anyway,
no shade at all.
It was really fun for me to be able to hear him talk and listen to his philosophies on some different things. And of course, Jerry Coleman's got all the best questions for DaCosta and Ravens football. So it was a great interview, and it was rare too because he doesn't typically do these kind of things. So Jerry Coleman was able to land him, and it was a lot of fun. And every week, we put out a good episode. We talk a little Orioles, we talk around the league, we get different guests, and get their insight. So it's been a lot of fun to be able to do that. Of course, the League of Dreams is near and dear to my heart, and we continue to do wonderful things there. Check it out at leagueofdreams.org. And I'm still giving lessons over at the Baseball Warehouse, and check out our summer clinics as well.
All of that, every single, I thumbs up all around from me.
All right.
At M Bordick, as well as how you follow him, the Be More Ball Pod for the podcast on Twitter. Mike Bordick, always appreciate you, brother. Hit him straight today. Thank you for taking the time for us.
All right, Glenn. See you, man.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
Mike Bordick with us here on GCR. All right, we come back in. We'll go 3 up and 3 down for the week of Orioles baseball. There were positives. They did win 4 out of 6 games for a second consecutive week. That's good. There were negatives too, and we'll cover them as well. We'll do that next. It's Glenn Clark Radio. This August, the PGA Tour's best are coming to Maryland. The 2025 BMW Championship tees off August 12th through 17th at Caves Valley Golf Club in Owings Mills. See the top 50 players battle it out in the penultimate event of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Don't miss your chance to witness world-class golf, fan experiences, and unforgettable moments. Tickets are on sale now at bmwchampionship.com. The BMW Championship, where legends take the lead.
Celebrate 60 years of America's favorite muscle car at Live Casino and win a new Ford Mustang. Earn entries daily and enjoy revved-up specials across our restaurants and bars all June. Cruise in Saturday, June 28th, and be one of 25 players to win cool trips, hot prizes, or a new Ford Mustang. Hit the gas at Live Casino at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at DriveEasyMD.com.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas combos, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious spilling sandwiches, including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard, and coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Want to improve your golf game or learn to play for the first time? The Baltimore Golf Academy has fun, instructional programs for the beginner golfer to everyday players. The Baltimore Golf Academy can take your game to the next level. Enroll today at baltimoregolfacademy.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as continue along on a Monday edition of the program. So I will tell you, intern Jake, that when I moved to Phoenix as a, 23? I was 22 or 23. I don't remember exactly what I was. But I got there for a minute. I had two. One was not me. The two biggest eye-opening moments that I had. Now, I had lived either in Baltimore or College Park for the entirety of my life to that point. The first weekend of NFL season, we went to a chain restaurant to watch football And I remember one of my co-hosts on the show. His name's Oscar. Love him.
Big O.
That is actually.
That's what we called him.
That was literally the show was called
I know.
Big O and Dukes, and he went with Big O. Oscar. We went to this chain restaurant. It was a wing place, and they had.
Was it Buffalo Wild Wings?
We don't do that. They don't spend money with us.
Oh, so
Arizona's
Buffalo Wild
Arizona's calling me right now.
Oh, they're saying
plug
the wing restaurant.
I think they might be cease and desist. But he asked the server, "Hey, do you guys have any Old Bay in the back?" And the guy just like looked at him like, "What? What is that?" And it like struck us like, "Oh crap, right? Yeah, that's what we're dealing with now. Moving forward is we can't get any Old Bay for our fries at a chain restaurant. Like that's just the way it's going to go." But then the next one was I do remember legitimately having this moment where I said to someone who worked at the radio station, "So like, where do you guys go for pit beef?" And the guy just like looking at me like, "What are you talking?" Because like I understood the crab. Like I knew better. I knew better. As the crab thing was over. Like I had to live with that. That was just the way that my life was going to be now moving forward. I made peace with it. I still was very sad because I would talk regularly on the show about how badly I just wanted a crab cake or I wanted. And there was a guy who called in who was like, "Bro, I own a place. I'm from Virginia. I own a restaurant. It was like 45 minutes outside of Phoenix, but come out and see us. I got you. It's legit." And I went out, and it was a Saturday night, and I like drove out there, and I was like, "God, this is gonna make my year," and it sucked. Like,
wow,
it sucked. It was a terrible.
So did
cake.
you have to lie to him?
Yeah, I think I was.
I mean, what
I think I was.
It was gonna be good
because he said he was from Virginia. And he knew how to make a crab cake. He's like, "Trust me."
Where was he getting the crab?
I know how to. I don't know, but I was willing to give it a shot. The guy was very persuasive.
He was using like crawfish meat.
Settle down over there.
Make a crab cake.
It's awful. I actually cried. It's a straight like this is 100%. I was dating a girl at the time, and we got back in the car.
Galveston.
Galveston. I actually cried. I was like, it's just not happening. I remember a buddy of ours came to visit who owned a bar in Columbia, and he like carried on the plane 5 crab pretzels. And I remember watching a Maryland football game, and like we stuck it in the oven and warmed it up. And I've never, I cried that night too because I've never been happier.
You're a big crier.
Like, I was just
he's an emotional guy.
That's what you needed in your life.
Let's cry.
But I definitely remember asking someone at the radio station, like, "Where do you guys go for pit beef?" And like it ended up in this devolving into an hour-long conversation where I'm like, it makes sense that like it's difficult for me to get crabs, right? Like I understand that.
But you guys don't have good meat here.
Pit beef. That should be something.
It's a Baltimore thing.
It's only a Baltimore thing. It's an exclusive.
Really?
It's not to the point.
So that's why
You're
I
from
didn't
like
know.
northern. You lived in Northern Virginia. It's not even a Northern Virginia thing.
Yeah.
Like you can get people in Virginia don't know how to eat crabs. Like they're obsessed with like
True.
they use like apple cider vinegar.
Oh,
What? They use it's.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, they don't know how to.
Don't do that.
People in Virginia don't know how to eat crabs.
Ben just said you
I
did.
eat them Old Bay. Like
But
my grandparents taught me.
At
right?
least they eat crabs. Like at least you can get crabs in Virginia. Pit beef is so exclusively Baltimore. Like you can't go anywhere outside of this thin radius in order to be able to enjoy a nice pit beef sandwich with some tiger sauce. Like it just doesn't.
Oh, that's what it was.
exist.
The white stuff on top, like the tiger sauce.
It might have been white. If it was white, it might have also been like Alabama white sauce. That's possible too. Some people like that.
It was a little white, kind of.
Tiger sauce is normally it could be white. It could be anywhere between like white and it's. So tiger sauce is like a mayo with hot sauce, like
There's
combination.
horseradish.
Horseradish,
Yeah.
yes.
That was so good.
Pit beef. I swear to God, it blew my mind. Blew my mind the thought that you couldn't just go down to the corner and find your favorite pit beef shack in order to. They closed the one out by my house that I liked, and at one point, I want to say 10 years ago, not quite 10 years ago, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. I happened to live right down the street from former Yankees pitcher A.J. Burnett, and I was on the phone with him for something completely different one day. Like we were just talking about something else. And I had mentioned, hey, not because everybody out by us knows where A.J. Burnett lives because it's nice. That guy made a lot of money playing baseball.
He's not still there.
I assume
he is?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. I mean, maybe he's not still there, but his kids were here. I don't know. I couldn't answer that question. I haven't talked to him in a while. But it was definitely his house, and everybody knew that. And so I remember we were on the phone for a different reason one day, and I said, hey, not for nothing, but, like, I actually live right down the street from you. And he said, oh, man, do you want to go into business with me? And I was just like, what? He's like, I want to open up. They closed down the pit beef shack, and I want to open it up so that we have a pit beef place down. I'm like, yes, please. My God.
Did you?
No, I don't have any. I don't have the.
Well, you're the.
I'm
you're
sure
the,
I'm
you're the
gonna,
PR guy. You're the PR guy.
Yeah,
That's your
I'm sure
skill.
I'm gonna reopen the pit beef place. Just walk in tomorrow, like I know exactly what I'm doing. Bam, bam, bam. Pit beef.
Well, you know a guy who knows a guy. That's your job.
Anyway, apparently, young Jake discovered pit beef for the first time this weekend.
Last weekend, but ooh.
Yeah, very, very good. All right, let's. It's Monday, and on Mondays we do this.
Three up.
And 3 down.
4-2 week for the Orioles.
A little late, but yeah.
Sweep the Mariners. Drop 2 out of 3 to the Athletics. 3 up and 3 down. Let's. Speaking of the Orioles, tomorrow night is lacrosse night with the Baltimore Orioles, and there are still some tickets available. Fans will receive a limited edition Orioles branded lacrosse penny when they purchase a special ticket package at Orioles.com/theme nights. Limited supplies remain. The night features appearances from PLL players like Colin Heacock, Matt Rambo, Matt Dunn, Sidney Black, and Grace Griffin. Tell Rambo they need to start winning when you're at lacrosse night tomorrow night. Say, hey, Rambo.
Figured it out.
Stop scarfing down crab cakes. Start scoring more goals.
But also, we support you.
Yeah, we love you. You're our guy.
The GOAT.
Orioles.com/theme nights. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, June 10th, for lacrosse night. All right, here we go. 3 up and 3 down. I'll begin. We start on the down side of things. And my number 3 for this week, I'll say Ryan O'Hearn. I hate it. You don't want to. You want to give him a pass because he's just been so good, but he OPS'd 427 for the week last week. It's not. There's no getting around it. He was really bad. So that happens. Not every week can be great. Hopefully he's right back to being Ryan O'Hearn. To Mike Bordick's point, if you're going to trade him, you'd like for that trade value to stay very high. But Ryan O'Hearn's number 3 on the list of down for this week.
Yeah, I had to go with O'Hearn too because what he had an RBI Saturday night. I was trying to talk myself out of it, but I mean, yeah, he was not good. As you said, the OPS was awful.
Strikeouts in there.
Yeah, it was just not a good week for O'Hearn. So he does come in at number 3.
Number 2, to me, it was a debate between 2 and 1, and the context was what ended up being the difference for why I went with who I went with at number 1. Charlie Morton's number 2, just when we were starting to want to believe that Charlie Morton had maybe turned some things around. Maybe even he could be desirable at the trade deadline.
We almost had hope.
Yeah, just kind of. What did he finish 2 1/3? That's what you got out of Charlie Morton.
2 1/3. Well, actually, it kind of makes sense what he was trying to do. He was trying to get it to the bullpen quicker because the bullpen
was
good.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Matt Bowman was outstanding. So, thank you for your service. We'll see you later.
Yeah.
Morton was brutal on Saturday. That looked like the Morton that we had seen. It did lead to all of the fun internet stuff about how he was playing with Jackson Holliday and playing against Jacob Wilson when he had previously played either with Matt Holliday and against.
He was against Matt Holliday.
With Jack Wilson.
Yeah, I think so.
That was fun, but his effort was
facing
not.
Jacob Wilson has not been fun. That was not fun.
Charlie Morton, number 2.
Yeah, he was number 2 for me as well.
How about that?
It was pretty poor. It was very bad.
And then number 1, it's the context. It's that the Orioles were rolling. They had won 6 straight games, and they had gone up 3-0 on Friday night, and you just had this feeling of, boy, everything is going right. And then in the bottom of the 3rd inning, Dean Kramer got crushed. Turned around and gave up 4 runs, put him in a hole. And that's just the type of stuff with Dean Kramer that you just find yourself saying, it's why I'll never trust you, ever. And I hate it. It pains me that this is Dean Kramer's story. Great guy. Love the mentality. Love everything about it. But this is who he is. If you want to trust him, he's going to let you down. Ladies, he's going to hurt you. Dean Kramer was number 1 this week because of that.
Yeah, he was not good. I guess you'd say he pitched into the 6th inning, but it was for
again,
what?
And the context of he was spotted early in the game. He was spotted 3 runs, and the team was rolling. Everything was going right for the Orioles in that moment, and then pissed it all away. It's a bummer, man.
I agree.
Real
Dean
bummer.
Kramer was number 1 on. Yeah, just.
The up list, I really just needed somebody that I wrote this on my 3-up for this week. This week, there was one player who was immensely deserving of being number 1. There were 7 or 8 guys that were immensely deserving of being number 3, and no one was actually deserving of being number 2. There was no one else who stood out. There was a lot of guys who were like, that guy could be on the list, but nobody else who stood out significantly. I end up needing to represent the bullpen because to the point the bullpen was outstanding, and so I go with Gregory Soto because he made 3 appearances, pitched 3 scoreless innings, allowed just 2 base runners in the process, and struck out 6 in those 3 innings of work in his 3 appearances. So Gregory Soto gets to speak for the entirety of the bullpen this week. He's my number 3.
Gotcha. I went with a different bullpen representative, and I had him as my number 2 as well. I went with Colton Cowser as my number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, coming back and making his presence immediately felt. Obviously, the guy who's going to be number 1 was the number 1 with a bullet, and then there were a bunch of other guys that you probably could have made a slight argument for. But yeah, Colton Cowser seemed to be the second best bat this week, so he comes in as my number 3.
I ended up making Colton Cowser my number 2, and I don't feel strongly about it. As I said, I don't think anybody deserved to be number 2 this week. But Colton Cowser, had a good first week back, a couple of home runs, including that bomb that was huge on Saturday night. So I don't think he was great, but he was certainly good, and Colton Cowser's number 2 because of it.
I went with Felix as my number 2. I
would actually like Cano better than Felix as a representative.
Didn't he only pitch
twice?
Didn't Cano only pitch twice?
Yeah,
what did he?
I think it was right. I think it was twice.
But
he was unhittable.
Okay, Cano pitched a third on Friday night, so that was forgot about that.
He was filthy.
He pitched in both the losses against the A's, and then he went 2/3. I mean, he got the win against one of the games against Seattle. I mean, Bautista. I mean, just because I'm still worried about Felix Bautista, and every time he comes in, and we get closer and closer to being like, oh, this guy is Felix Bautista.
There was still a little bit of an adventure with Felix Bautista last week.
Sure, I mean, he let up what? 1 base runner each outing. That was
that one. The
biggest
reason
one was a complete scoreless, and then one was 2 base runners.
I'm still holding my pee from the Rowdy Tellez thing the other night. I get it. It ultimately
didn't count.
He got the results. You're right. So I understand, and it's fine that he was on the list. But man, it's still a little adventurous with Felix.
But yeah, to represent the bullpen, I like Felix. So
look, Adley Rutschman was definitively number 1. There's no debate about who was number 1 this week, and it's wonderful to see. Was it just, to Mike Bordick's point, getting a hug from mom and getting a little home cooking, or is it a moment where things actually turned around? We will find out. But he was awesome this week. OPS over 1,000.
Over 11.
Over 1,100. Yeah. I think you're right. Was phenomenal throughout the course of this week. So hopefully that is a sign that things have turned for Adley Rutschman, and we'll go from there. But Adley Rutschman was an obvious choice to be number 1.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Thank you. They don't call him the best color analyst in baseball for nothing. Yes.
I pointed out the good OPS. That counts. That was my analysis.
3 up and 3 down for this week. We'll get it posted.
Or maybe Hassan Kjerstad had 2 triples. You could argue him.
Wasn't the first one
right,
last Sunday?
Yeah,
so he had one triple. 1 triple this week.
Didn't he have the second highest OPS for the week?
Well, I don't know, because he had he only had 10 at bats.
Yeah.
It was not. Understandably so. All right, that's 3 up and 3 down. We will get it up at GlennClarkRadio.com. Also, don't forget, tickets are now on sale for the Maryland 5-Star, the 2025 edition of the Maryland 5-Star. Great to have it back. It has become a tentpole event here in the state, celebrating 5th anniversary. You can go to maryland5star.us with the number 5, maryland5star.us in order to get your tickets. It's not just that triple crown of equestrian and eventing. It's also the Corgi Cup and the Food and Wine Festival, everything associated with the Maryland 5-Star, huge part of the fall here in the state of Maryland. Again, maryland5star.us in order to get your tickets with the number 5. Into hour number 2 of the program. We mentioned it earlier. What a night last night as the Oklahoma City Thunder even up the NBA Finals with an emphatic Game 2 victory, which was never really in doubt, although it's tough with the Pacers. It's really hard to write them off. They win 123-107. And a huge part of that Game 2 win for the Thunder was someone we know well in this area. 5 threes made off the bench for former Terp Aaron Wiggins, who finished with 18 points. Joining us now to tell us what it meant to him to see his guy shine on the brightest stage that basketball has to offer. He is also a Terps legend. He's now on the staff at High Point, but before that, he was Aaron Wiggins' coach at Wesleyan Christian Academy. He is Keith Gatlin, and he's with us now here on GCR. Keith, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to catch up with you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
How you doing, Glenn? Thanks for having me.
Everything is great. Coach, can you describe what this meant to you? I remember talking to you about Aaron years ago when he originally committed. To see him get this opportunity. I know it's been Aaron Wiggins has done everything that Thunder have asked him to do. It's just the way the playoffs work. He's gotten not quite as many minutes as we had seen him get. To see him get this chance to shine on the brightest stage, what did it mean to you?
Oh, it meant the world, and I'm very blessed, and thank God I had a chance to see it. But that's just a testament to Aaron and to his family. He's to do what he's doing. A lot of people don't understand. That's very hard to do. When you go to your job and you don't know your role or the minutes you're going to get every night. But to come in and to shine on the biggest stage, I mean, he played 10 minutes the first night, and I thought he should have played more. And then last night he gets, maybe 18 or 20 minutes, and he just shows what he can do. So to have that kind of mindset and to have that kind of moxie to be ready whenever you're called, that says a lot about the young man.
Can you explain that to people, how difficult that is? Because what you just laid out to me is part of what makes this so impressive. That, you do nothing wrong, right? Aaron Wiggins, everybody in Oklahoma City raves about Aaron Wiggins. You just sort of start losing your minutes. I think for a lot of guys, it would probably be easy to get frustrated, to lose their place. What does it tell us about Aaron, about who he is, that isn't, that he just says, okay, when my number's called, I'm going to be ready to deliver?
Yeah, that's just Aaron. He's always been that way. He's always been a cerebral player, cerebral thinker, and he's one of those type of guys where, the moment is never too big. He never gets too high. He never gets too low. I mean, in high school, I used to, I need you to go. I need you to do more. And once he picked that up toward the end of his junior year, the rest was history. But that is very tough. And I played a long time to go to the arena, and you don't know the minutes you're going to get or if you're going to get in the game. That's tough to do. I mean, it's easy to scout for the first 5, but the teams that are really good are the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th man. And in OKC place, they have 10 to 12 guys that can play on a high level every night.
They really are loaded, man. It's crazy what they built down there. Keith Gatlin is with us here on GCR. Keith, can you take us back, right? For people that don't, when did you know, that this young man was special and maybe had a chance to do this at the highest level the way that he's proven?
When I first started working Aaron out, I put him in workouts with Dennis Smith Jr., who went to the NBA guy, P.J. Tucker, Monte Brandon that played for me was at Florida State, and they was pushing Aaron around because he was not strong at the time. But every one of those guys, Dennis Smith, P.J. Tucker, every one of those guys were just like, Coach, I like him. He's going to be good. And I used to tell Aaron and tell his dad, just once he gets stronger into the weight room, the rest going to be history. And to Aaron's credit, he started lifting. He started getting that confidence. And then coming into his senior year, I mean, he just blossomed, went to the Stephen Curry, got MVP. He just started getting that self-confidence where he already had. But once you lift weights, it gives you a different mindset. You can take a bump. You won't get knocked off your ball. His skill set was always there, but his competitive juices really came out when he started playing against older and stronger guys.
He is, and obviously that is sustained. One of the things that always impressed me about Aaron, it kind of speaks to what we're talking about with the bench. He was never really like the alpha during his time at Maryland, yet he was wildly productive. And we can see, like, he has the ability to kind of take over in moments. Where do you, like, knowing that it's not your team, but yet knowing when it's you, like, where do you think that comes from for Aaron, that he knows when it's his moment and when he should then, like, have the green light, take the shots? This is your moment, even if it's not necessarily your team.
Well, the thing that is so impressive about Aaron is he never plays out of character.
Yeah.
Even when he was at Maryland, he used to run to the corner, and Maryland was built around Anthony Cowan, Jalen Smith, Bruno. Aaron still came off the bench. Darryl Moselle, he still came off the bench. I thought he could have done more, but I understood, Maryland was loaded. Given the chance, Aaron could have did everything he was doing then. It's just that he's not going to overstep his boundaries. He's just going to sit back. And when a lot of people play checkers, Aaron plays chess. So he sits back and, that's the best analogy I can give. When people play checkers, Aaron plays chess.
It's not just him, right? Like, literally everyone on that roster can defend. It's one of the most insane things that I've ever seen is how sold out everyone is in Oklahoma City to play defense. But was that always the case for Aaron? Because, like, we saw it in college as well, his willingness to defend. Was that –
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was his calling card. He can defend. He's 6'5", 6'6". He can play multiple positions, but his skill set is so good. He can handle. He can shoot it. He can dribble. If you watched him last night, he hit Halliburton with a dribble and then a step back to create his space. And people are like, wow, he can do that. It's just that nothing is forced. Even when he was at Maryland, he played off Anthony Cowan. He played off of Jalen Smith or whoever. And then he gets to OKC. He plays off of Shea. He plays off of Dort. He plays off of Chet. So he's always ready to shoot it. He's always ready to make the extra pass. But defense always gets him on the floor. And then once he starts showing offense, everybody's like, wow, I didn't know he could do that. Well, he could. He just never was asked to do it.
Hey, man, we all know he's capable of it. We've all seen it, man, and it's awesome to see him do it at this level. Are you superstitious? Like, I assume that right now you're like the biggest Thunder fan on the face of the planet.
Well, I've been a Thunder fan ever since Aaron went there, but my son told me 5 years ago that OKC is going to be good there. And I was just like, really? You think so? He said, they're going to be up and coming. And then how God works things out, we went to see 2 games last year that Aaron played, my wife and my son. And Aaron and my team in high school, we played against Dort in high school.
Oh, wow.
We beat them. So we always laugh and joke about that. And but when LKC started getting good and Aaron started, doing very well, my son said, I told you that. I told you so. I mean, we definitely support Aaron wherever he go, but it's just kind of funny how God worked things out and how, it works out. If you watch OKC play, we did the same stuff in high school, 3-on-3, full court, 4-on-4, full court, and it got real competitive. And if you watch OKC, they play the same way. Shea gets a dribble, a pick and roll, and you're going to play off of him. Dort, you're going to play off of him. You're going to give it to Chet. He's going to drive it. You're going to play off of him. And everybody catches the ball up top, has a live dribble, and they can dribble, pass, and shoot. And our 3-on-3 and 4-on-4 games in practice in high school got very, very competitive. And I sit back and smile because Aaron did the same thing he's doing now in high school.
Wow, that's cool. Hang on, I got to know, was Lou Dort as annoying to coach against then as he is to try to coach against now? Because, my God, that guy is a pest.
Same player, a dog, a straight dog. And people don't understand his calling card coming out of college. He was undrafted, was defense.
Yeah. Yep.
And he, you know, if you look at all of OKC players, they really got a great, you know, Shea is long and can score. He can defend. Casey Wallace can defend. You know, Alex Caruso won the championship with the Lakers. His calling card is defense. Dort came from Arizona State. That's his calling card. So Chet Holmgren blocked shots at Gonzaga, Harkenstein. So everybody steps on the floor for them. Defense is their calling card.
Coach, while I've got you, I should ask. I know there was a lot of frustration from a lot of Maryland basketball alumni. Obviously, as we saw how things played out over the course of the last couple of months, the coaching change, and we've seen a lot of guys who have stepped up and said, "Hey, I need to be more involved with the program." Can you maybe speak to me about, you know, what you felt from the alumni base about how things have gone, and if you feel like, given the move to Buzz Williams, things are headed in the correct direction, that Maryland has started to figure out what it takes in order to compete at the highest level of college basketball?
Yeah, I like Buzz. I know him not well, but we always cordial when we see each other. Maryland is a place where I'm speaking for myself and my former teammates. Everybody in the DMV have a lot of support and love for us. For whatever reason, we hope the administration can get on board. And I'm just speaking from my peers and my group there. Every time we go back and I talk to Buck Williams and everybody, we gave blood, sweat, and tears to Maryland. It would be great to have Maryland guys on the staff because nobody can tell you about the Maryland way than a Maryland guy.
Yep.
And that's why Carolina and Duke and those guys always going to be in the hunt because they always go back and get a Duke or a Carolina player, always. And I know personally, me and my former teammates talk about it. I never drank and smoked in my life, but because Len Bias lost his life off the way he did, I think we've been lumped into a category like, well, we're going to try to shy away from that. But I hope the administration would come around because, I mean, I'm a realist and I look at it this way. If Lenny was so bad, why would you put his name in the Raptors and sell his jersey?
I agree strongly with you about that. And Keith,
I mean, if you wanted, you know, I mean, if he was such a bad person or whatever, and I tell this to young kids all the time, I know millions of young men and women went to Maryland when I was there, drank and smoked and partied, and thank God nothing ever happened to them, and they very successful people now because he made one mistake. That doesn't define who Len Bias and his family is.
No doubt. I
think all of us who was in that situation kind of get lumped into that as being like, you know, well, they were there at that time, and I think that's unfair because all of us got our degrees. Derek Lewis, Jeff Baxter, myself, Stevie Jones, Tony Massenberg. So we represented the university well. We went on and did great things, but on the inside, I don't think the university has wrapping around us. That's just my personal opinion.
I think it's a fair one to bring up, and you're not alone, right? Like Len Elmore has spoken eloquently about this topic and how important it is for Maryland people to be surrounding the program. And I know he wanted the head coach to be an alum, and I know a lot of people wanted that. I think Buzz is a solid man, and hopefully will do a great job. But I think it's a well-spoken thing that the
thing that I don't think people understand, and you probably know because you've been a Maryland fan for a while, the blueprint is set. You won the national championship with Gary Williams. And where did he go to school?
Yeah, an alum, right, correct. Someone who knew exactly, he knew all the warts. He knew every ounce of the difficulty. And it's, you know, we see these stories about how Kevin Willard didn't like how things were going on at Maryland. He didn't know what he was getting into when he showed up for the...
You had Dave Dixon on the staff, and he played with the University of Maryland.
100%.
The blueprint is already set. And I tell people all the time, who can tell you better than a Maryland alum? Hey, don't go to this area in Baltimore. Don't go there. Go to this area. Or go to this place in College Park to get a haircut. Or go to Bentley's. or you need to pick this class or that class. That's how it works in business. And for the life of me, I don't understand why Maryland hasn't grasped that concept. But the blueprint was right there. You won it with a man that played at Maryland, went to Maryland, and Dave Dixon played, and he was on your staff.
I understand all of the emotion that you have and the passion that you have for. I hope that it's going to work out really well with Buzz and his staff. I hope that they're going to prove that's the case, and it's a roster he's built without even a local kid so far. But hopefully, Steve Blake's son is on the roster, and that does matter. I think that's great. But we will see. We will see how it goes.
You look at it. You look at it from, and I'm coaching high school. I'm coaching, and if Maryland called me, I'll be back tomorrow, without a doubt. If it's skill development or whatever. But you look at the DMV. If you can control the DMV, then you can mix and match players from out of state. Lefty was a master at that.
Yep.
He got Lynn Byers,
yep,
Adrian Brinks, Derek Lewis. Then he went and got myself, Hermanville, Ben Coleman. And I chose Maryland because Eastern North Carolina, Lefty had a great relationship with us.
Sure.
John Lucas, Buck Williams, Charles Pittman. So from a business standpoint, Maryland was a no-brainer. You're going to definitely take care of me because you like Eastern North Carolina players and the success that all our guys from Eastern North Carolina went. Then you had Chris Wilcox from Eastern North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So the blueprint is set, but you got to win the DMV.
Yep. To your point, right? It was Juan and Lonnie, right? Like a Baltimore and a DC
Thank
guy. And then you built around that with guys from – Steve Blake was not from the area. To your point, Byron Mouton wasn't – well, but
Byron Mouton was not from the area.
And
Taj Holden was from New Jersey.
Was Jersey, yep, 100%.
Lonnie Baxter was from the area. Lonnie Baxter was from the area.
Yep.
So the blueprint is set. The blueprint is set. I just don't know why it's so hard for people to figure that out because, Maryland sits in a hotbed of basketball. I've talked to Coach K, Chris Petwell's a good friend of mine, Hubert Davis. Carolina and Duke, Kentucky, they're like corporations. You can
oh, no doubt. Yeah, they're brands. Yeah.
DMV kids, European kids, whatever. You can go and grab those kids. They can come in on the 11th hour and get a kid. But until Maryland build it up, you got to win the DMV first. Look at Derek Queen.
Yep.
Where's he from?
Yep, Baltimore. Yep, 100%. Juju Reese worked out okay. Jameer Young was pretty good.
I'm sitting there just like you can get your. I used to talk to Coach Giselle a lot, and I said, Coach, how do you recruit? He said, Keith, it's easy, and you're gonna be a great coach. So what you do? He said, you watch guys play. Hermanville was a defender, heart and soul of our team, tenacious defender, emotional leader. You get Ben Coleman, a rebounder, can score on the block. You got Lenny, who's a frequent athlete, very skilled. You got Adrian, 6'8" guard, who got length and athleticism. Jeff Atkins, 6'6". You got you 6'5". He said, I like big guards, but all y'all do different things.
Yep.
You can score, Keith, but you like to pass it. So if I know you're going to pass it to Adrian on one side to Lenny, then my job is easy.
Yeah, it's pretty right.
Herman going to do the dirty work. Ben's going to score down low. Then I bring in Mark Fothergill. Then I get Derek Lewis. Then I got another athlete to go with it. So, I mean, I've learned a lot from Coach Giselle, but the blueprint is set. There's no question about that.
Keith Gatlin, we could talk about this for hours. We could do this show for a long time. Happy for you, and obviously we're extraordinarily happy for Aaron. Has he at least since he got the contract, has he at least taken you out to dinner or something since then?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
can you believe that?
Yeah, we got to fix that.
No, he's busy. I'm just teasing. I'm trying to get him on the golf course now because he sent me a couple of videos when he was at Maryland playing with some friends. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. So he knew I like to play golf. So I'm going to get him on the golf course and take his money on the golf course.
I love that. Keith Gatlin, it's always great to catch up with you, my friend. Thank you for spending a couple of minutes with us. And
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hopefully we can do this again real soon. All right.
Thanks a lot. Okay.
Great Keith Gatlin, Maryland legend, and, of course, Aaron Wiggins' coach down at Wesleyan Christian in North Carolina, as Aaron Wiggins has a huge game last night in the Thunder's Game 2 win in the NBA Finals. They even up the series going back to Indianapolis. Still a lot of stories and chapters to unfold in the NBA Finals. All right, today's show also brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel. We were just there on Saturday having a great time in the poker room. There's no better place to watch the finals than inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. No better place to watch all the big fights. I know there's a YouTuber that's fighting later on this month. You can watch that.
That'd probably be a fun atmosphere here.
Look, if that's what you're into, that's the place to watch it.
There's other fights that night.
Sports and Social. That is true. There are other fights on that card. Sports and Social, inside Live Casino and Hotel, always the best place for all of those big events. The 100-foot media wall, the great menu, all of that inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. It was an insanely great weekend for sports viewing in general. And, of course, as you all know, I gave a lot of my attention to the French Open. And the problem, there was a big problem yesterday because I just got to tell you, that match went 5+ hours, and that's not okay. Because I wish it would have gone 8. My God, it was breathtaking. Joining us now to talk about the French Open, one of our favorites, Baltimore legend, a Hall of Famer, ESPN analyst, the great Pam Shriver is back with us now here on GCR. Pam, it's Glenn. I'm struggling to even come up with words. I'm just so glad that we were all able to spend 5+ hours watching tennis yesterday because it was worth every second of it.
Yeah, I think it was probably the greatest ever final weekend at a major because you throw in not just yesterday's 5.5-hour win by Alcaraz from 2 sets to love, down for the first time in his career. He was down triple championship point to number 1 Jannik Sinner. But on top of that, the day before, Coco Gauff playing in extremely difficult conditions. The worst wind I think I've ever seen on Philippe Chatrier Stadium, and Gauff just showed why she's mentally one of the toughest competitors on the tour.
Can we talk about that, Pat? Because that was the biggest thing that stood out to me. And I know there's been a lot made about what Aryna Sabalenka said after the match, but in the match itself, Coco did not serve well at all. She's not a great server in general. She did not serve well on Saturday. But everything about the difference was how cool, how calm she was, no matter what the circumstances were. I want to know all about her sports psychiatry department because I've never seen a greater disparity between players than what I saw on Saturday and how serious that made all of the difference in that match, that Coco Gauff, who has, been in the spotlight since she was a child, and yet is just she doesn't blink in these biggest moments against one of the most powerful athletes we've ever seen in women's tennis.
Yeah, it was a rematch of the U.S. Open from just about 2 years ago when Coco Gauff once again showed there from a set down. She had the help of Arthur Ashe Stadium to bring her to her first major over Sabalenka. But then in Paris on Saturday, given the wind, it was a classic example of the difference of a positive mindset athlete and an athlete who's stuck in a poor mindset. And it's not saying that Sabalenka hasn't been – she's number 1 in the world. She's been mentally so tough. But she obviously, the wind got to her. I think the history against Coco Gauff, they went into the match 5-5 in their head-to-heads. So it's turning into one of the best rivalries in women's tennis, and it's currently number 1 versus number 2. And Coco has the best movement on the tour. She covers the court better than anyone else right now. She's got one of the best backhands, and she's got the best mindset. Put those 3 things together. If her serve and her forehand is a little bit off, oh well.
Right.
She can still win so many matches, and I was so impressed with how she handled Saturday.
Pam, to your point, her defense, right? Like her defense is just insane, and Sabalenka can mention all the unforced errors she had. That's true, but part of that was because Coco just kept grinding her and putting her in position to make those types of errors. Coco's defense, to me, is why I don't think this thing is going to stop at 2, right? Like, and obviously she's so young, and there's almost no doubt. I don't think she's not going to be Serena because that's insane. But she's gonna win more of these because her defense and her mentality are just impeccable.
Well, Glenn, we know what they say about other sports. Defense wins championships. And you're exactly right. What Coco showed, especially on a clay court, which is much slower than, say, right now they're transitioning to grass courts, which is much quicker. And, you know, Coco may find that her defense doesn't mean as much on the faster, slicker grass. But on clay, where she'd already been to a Roland Garros final, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, she is one tough out. And she played a lot of clay court tennis down in South Florida growing up. And I think USA has got a lot to be happy about, given the stars of the women's game led by Coco Gauff.
Well, and obviously the Maddie story from Melbourne, which is, you know, one of my favorite stories of tennis in the last 10 years because everything she's been through to finally break through. Pam, one more, just because I brought up what Sabalenka said afterwards. Can we dismiss that as it's a bad day and like this just happens when you lose a tennis match and you're heartbroken and you can say regrettable things? Or is there, you know, does it speak to the temperament that we saw on Saturday? And there's a bigger problem that, like, you look at her and you say she has all of the physical gifts that she should be the dominant player, and yet she does have a tendency to come up short, and is what we saw afterwards maybe a representation of why she has come up short so many times in championship matches?
Well, look, she's a bit of a late maturing athlete. She reminds me a little bit of how Navratilova matured later in her career than, say, the way Chrissy or Tracy Austin back in my day. So let's cut her. You know, it was extremely painful loss. Somebody on her team or a media person from the WTA Tour or from the International Tennis Federation that helps manage media, somebody needed to do a little bit of a pause and help her collect her thoughts and kind of give her a little bit of coaching before she went into that, because it was almost like a trap. She went in way too quickly. She was still boiling over from the match. And yes, she totally goofed up. She kind of gave an apology yesterday that was sort of half-baked.
Yeah.
But look, maybe next time she'll handle it better, but not every athlete is as gracious as what Jannik Sinner was yesterday after one of the most painful losses in the history of tennis.
Pam Shriver is with us here on GCR. To get to that, Pam, it's hard to even call him say he lost, right? Because everybody won yesterday. The sport won, tennis won, and I know he doesn't feel that way. It is painful, but to see what those guys were doing in the 5 hours later in the fifth set, it just doesn't even seem human that they were still playing at that level. It looked for a minute like Jannik in the fifth just didn't have it in him, and all of a sudden he was right back in the match in order to force the tiebreak. I really am out of words to describe how beautiful, how breathtaking that was. It was artistry watching that yesterday.
Yeah. Listen, those of us who've been in pro tennis for decades, we can't come up with the right descriptors either. It was, and when you think about this special two young players coming on the heels of the big three with Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic, I mean, the men's game and all of tennis is in great hands, given this rivalry of Sinner and Alcaraz. They've except for Djokovic sneaking in like 18 months ago, they've owned all the majors recently, and it's been such a quick pivot from the all-time greats to this next new young generation. So it's a lot of fun to watch and look for them to probably maybe play again in the finals of Wimbledon.
Oh, no doubt. So, Pam, two things that jumped out at me yesterday. One, Jannik had kind of stuck his nose out in front, like in this little rivalry between the two of them. Not that, he had done it head-to-head that way because obviously Carlos still had the advantage, but just in accomplishments. He had won the last couple of slams. He had sort of become the definitive number one. I felt like there was something even more than just a championship at stake. It felt like there really was, like, Carlos Alcaraz maybe seeing that, like, this was slipping away a little bit and he was losing his grasp of being, the top guy in tennis. It felt like there was a subtext there that was almost as compelling to me as the match itself was.
Look, the storylines going even before they played first point yesterday was quite unbelievable. So, yes, it has this magical feeling of a matchup that you just can't wait to see it again.
Right.
I know their coaching boxes really well. I mean, Darren Cahill is, it's been a colleague of mine, a former player, Juan Carlos Ferrero. It's like there's so much going into these two great champions at such a young age. And how much more can they improve? You know, at 22 and 22 and 21 or 23 and 21, it's all ahead of them still. So it's up to the other guys to kind of figure out how can they approach this standard, if at all, or are they going to distance themselves from the rest of the field the way the big three did for 20 years?
That was the question I was about to ask. Like, I am as excited as everybody else is about Fonseca. Like, he just seems to check every. I know some of it is internet and hype driven, but like his tennis really does appear to be that good that he could get into that conversation. But are they? Is there too much distance? Like, is it just a two-man show moving forward, or is there still room for some of these younger guys to step into that conversation at the conference?
There's room. I mean, listen, look what Andy Murray did in the era of the big three when he snuck in with a couple of Wimbledons, the U.S. Open, got to all those Australian Open finals.
Wawrinka obviously as well, yeah.
Exactly. So people will sneak in, even Marin Cilic winning a U.S. Open about 11 years ago. So, but in the meantime, Sinner and Alcaraz are definitely being chased right now.
There's no doubt.
Listen, Glenn, I got to go watch Donna Vekic play a match on.
Oh my gosh, you gotta coach.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Pam,
thank you
love
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Hi to Baltimore. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Pam Shriver.
Bye-bye.
Apologies, didn't realize that Pam had an out. We would have moved the schedule around and made that. I feel terrible now, but I appreciate that Pam was able to spend a few minutes with us to just give us some context for what we saw yesterday. Which, my God, I literally, you're out of words. Everything about it was what makes you love sport. I people that aren't tennis people that were just caught up in the moment that were messaging me about it were like, hey, is this the greatest comeback ever? And I'm like, well, it's so difficult to quantify that with tennis because there's no clock. When you're talking about great players, yeah, he was down 2 sets.
Tommy Paul last week was probably the greatest comeback.
You love Tommy Paul. That's such a weird thing that you love Tommy Paul. But there's all you got to do is win the points. In other sports, in football, we know how insane a comeback is because the math makes it so that it's unlikely. The math never really makes a tennis comeback unlikely. Carlos Alcaraz wasn't getting walloped in the first couple of sets. He just lost them. He lost by a break, and he lost in a tiebreaker. He was it was a nip and tuck situation, right, the two of them right there with each other. It just so happened to be that both of the sets went Jannik Sinner's way. So to say it was a great comeback, it feels that way because he was down 2-0, but it's just sort of the odd nature of tennis. If it was a different sport where you don't go by sets, let's just say that was a basketball game, for example, it might have been, what would be a good compare? It'd be like saying you're down 61-56 at the half. It's just that in tennis, you don't score it that way. It happened to be that Sinner won the first 2 sets. And so it looks like it's a beatdown because you're down by 2 sets. But if you were watching the match, nothing about it suggested it was a beatdown. They were 2 insanely hard-fought sets between 2 insanely good players. The storylines, as Pam brings up, that like Carlos Alcaraz had never come back from down 2-0, well, that's because he's so good that it's hard for anybody to get up 2 sets on him. We're not talking about someone who's had like 1,000 tries and has never done it. First of all, you can only play 5-set matches at slams. So there's just not a lot of experience in that situation. But to think that he wasn't capable of it, no. At no point did you think like there's no way that Carlos Alcaraz couldn't come back.
Even when that was the 4th set, when it was 5-3.
The triple championship point, there's a lot made about that. It was still on his serve.
Oh, so Alcaraz was serving.
If he faces triple championship point on Sinner's serve, and then we're talking about something unheard of. Like, unheard of. And the irony, and I was texting with our friend Greg Rosenthal about it, the irony would be that once he got back, I said to Greg, he's getting the break. Like, it's not actually true that in tennis, if you fight out of a love 40 hole and you win that game, that you always break the other way. But, like, there's a term for it, and I'm just not thinking of what it is. It's almost like a service break. Like, what you just did there, it's so difficult mentally for a player to forget. You're Jannik Sinner, and you're like, dude, I had 3 points, and if I just win it, I'm the French Open champion. And to wipe that away, and now you get it. He still had a chance to serve for the match after that. It's the part that nobody. When you bring up the 3 championship points, the more amazing part is that Jannik Sinner served for the match. Alcaraz broke him. But he broke him in part because mentally Sinner was still struggling with, I had 3 points to win the French Open. And like, in a bizarro world, it was more valuable for Carlos Alcaraz to go down love 40 in that game.
Oh, then just win it.
If he had just won that game
and
easily, then Sinner's mentally probably just like, okay, all I got to do is go serve for the match. But because Alcaraz fell behind love 40 in that game and Sinner blew it, he's still struggling with that as he goes to serve. I was this close. All I had to do was win one of those points. And it's the nature of tennis. It's a very mental sport, and it gets away from you. But then, to be fair, Carlos Alcaraz also served for the match in the 5th set and blew it. Got broken at 5-4. And then had to respond and rally in order to win in the tiebreaker, where he was, dominant in the tiebreaker. Just great stuff. Breathtaking stuff, man.
So then what is the greatest comeback?
Yeah, it's really hard in tennis to define that. I mean, it really is, because there's just not a construct for that in tennis the way that there is in other sports. Like, everything is still – you don't have to recover an onside kick. You don't need luck. You don't need the other team to turn the ball over. The construct is all there right in front of you. All you got to do is win the points. That's it. So it's hard to define comeback in tennis because of that. From the outside, it's a word. And yes, technically, he was down 2-0. He had to come back in the match. But he was down 2-0 in a match that he was right there with. I guess the comparison would be if in baseball they just judged who won the game by who won the most innings instead of by the score. And it was 2-0 after the first 2 innings. Or I'm trying to think of a good compare. If it was
3-0 after the first 5 innings, huh?
Yeah, something like that. Would we be like, oh, this team is out of it? Would you say, no, it's a 2-0 game? Like, there's a lot of. It's a difficult comparison to make in tennis, because at no point was there a thought from anyone that knew the sport that Carlos Alcaraz was out of that match or couldn't win it. Literally not a single point. I don't even know how significant of a favorite Sinner was after the second set in live odds. Like, my guess is he never got more than minus 250, something like that.
Really?
Because that's tennis. Yeah, if he was 2 sets up on Greek Sport or Basilashvili or something like that, that's a different. But he was up 2 sets on Carlos Alcaraz, who is Carlos Alcaraz on clay. It doesn't take away from any of it. It's still the quality of the tennis is the story. The story isn't really the comeback. It's the quality of the tennis. It's a shame if we treat that as Jannik Sinner choked. He did not. Carlos Alcaraz just played an insanely high level of tennis. If Sinner had rolled over in the 5th set after he had blown the 2 sets, and then we could have that conversation. Sinner battled back, got the break at 5-4, and damn near won the match. They both played insane tennis. The storyline isn't, this was a dramatic comeback. They both played 5 sets of – there wasn't a single set in that match that was determined by more than one break. No one won a comfortable set in that entire match. All 5 sets were brilliantly back and forth. Just awesome, man. Just awesome. I'm a tennis person, so my pants were off. But
wow.
This is like what I say about when I said like the Rory McIlroy thing at the Masters, like I don't care at all about golf, but yet I can get swept up in that. You don't have to have liked tennis to get swept up in that. And I get it. The casual person isn't quite as familiar with Alcaraz and Sinner yet as they were with Nadal and Djokovic and Federer in that era. So
I felt more compelled, and I know we got to take a break. That we were more. I felt more compelled, like I was more into the Coco match on Saturday. And
is that just because she's American?
Yes.
That I understand that. Like I understand. You don't have to apologize for that. Like we talk about it all the time. Like for my kids, it's that simple. They look up at the screen, they say. Whereas yesterday they looked
Sam
at
Querrey's playing. Yeah, you
right
for
exactly.
Sam Querrey.
They're all in on Sam Querrey. They look at the screen yesterday and they're like, "Dad, we're rooting for Sinner, right? Because he's Italian. Because our family's Italian." And I'm like, "Yeah." And now I got to try to explain to him, but he got popped for something, and so we're not really sure how much we're rooting for him anymore. But like we think he might not have done.
He's truly Italian.
It's well, he's also not. This is the problem. He's not Matteo Berrettini.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like that. Like
or sound. Yeah, like the.
Like he just. The unbelievably attractive Italian, like that stereotype, does not fit for Yannick Sinner. He looks more like Ron Weasley. Like you find yourself in this. Is he Italian? Like is that? It's very much. He is Italian, and his name is Sinner. It doesn't have a lot of vowels, right? Berrettini,
Clark,
Panetta. Yeah. We were. What was? Oh my God! Now I've already forgotten. Colucci. That was my family's name before they changed it. Was Colucci, which is a beautifully Italian name. And I'm like, why did we pick Clark? This beautiful Italian name. Stick with that. Try to convince all my cousins like we should all as a generation
go
back. And they just looked at me like, what is wrong with you, doofus? All right, you want me to? We need to take 2. Let's take a break. Jeremy Conn will join us. Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas combos, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious spilling sandwiches, including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard, and coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and on the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the long road back from Tommy John surgery for Orioles closer Felix Bautista, as well as Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Also inside, we learn more about new Maryland basketball coach Buzz Williams from the players who have played for him at other stops. Plus, evaluators around baseball chime in on Orioles' top prospect, Samuel Basayo. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Monday edition of the program. Coming up a little bit later on today, Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson will be getting back together as they do every Monday. Talk baseball with you. 5 o'clock, you can watch it, facebook.com/PressBoxSports. If you miss it live, you'll be able to see it there or at PressBoxOnline.com/video, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline. Every Monday, today, 5 o'clock, Stan the Fan Charles, former Oriole Ross Grimsley, and Luke Jackson talking birds, talking baseball. Make sure you are checking that out. And as always, it is brought to you by the Costas Inn. Monday edition of GCR. This man's been he's messing with him, isn't he? Is he effing? Is he effing with him? Oh, get him on. Get him on. This is so great. This is so great.
So, yeah.
Yeah, what happened?
Right. Alex forgot who he was talking to.
Oh, boy. Hang on a second. All right, so explain to me what occurred. He called, and he said what?
So he's
doing what up again.
Well, no, he's doing a good job
again.
producing. He's like marking. You did a read, so he was marking the read off. I have the names of all the guests on the back side of the piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And so he quickly tried to flip it over and was like, "Oh shoot, who are we talking to?"
All right, pull up Jeremy.
He's like, "Hi, Jeremy.
Pull Jeremy up, please."
You're on, Jeremy.
Jeremy, since you've been gone, I can breathe for the first time. I'm so moving on. No, since you've been gone, we've been letting a young intern Jake, whose actual name is Alex. We've been letting him try to learn how to run the board and run the show. We had an incident last week when he called Jim Bowden, and this is how Jim Bowden answers, "Hi, Jim Bowden here." And Jake said, "What up, bro?" Which actually made me really happy. Like, I enjoyed that.
That's a great story. Like when I started messing with him right away because I could tell as soon as he got on, and I'm like, it doesn't sound like Griffin. And then all of a sudden he goes, it's Alex.
Yeah,
and I went,
you know who?
Did you forget my name, dude?
God.
He was like, oh.
God.
Now, why is he Jake instead of Alex? What happened?
Drew one day was just in here, and he was trying to reference him, and he obviously had no idea what his name was. He was like, yeah, just get Jake or whatever to go do it. And this is how intern names happen, is you just decide,
such a great way how that nickname starts
that
off.
sticks, that one works. Intern Jake.
Wait for the call from Jake sometime in the future.
Oh, my God, man. I could, see Jake was just talking during the break about all the different things he had effed up in the last couple of weeks.
I think I'm the right one to mess up with.
Oh, no doubt.
It just makes
so,
it more fun.
So much better that it was you. Although, I got to tell you, I was really hoping that, Jim Bowden would be angry about it. Like, he'd be like, that was disrespectful. He actually covered. I said, Jim, did he just say, what up, bro? He's like, no, he didn't do that. And if he did, I don't mind. I'm like, damn.
What up, Broden?
I was really hoping that Jim would play along and be like, Glenn, I might never come on with you guys ever again after I was disrespected like that, just to mess with him more.
That's so great, man.
How was the trip?
Yeah, so there's some. You've been to a lot of concerts. I think I had one of the coolest concert moments that I've ever had in my entire life. And it's based off of. So Ireland was great. We went to see the Lumineers over there.
Yeah.
I would tell you this much: we went to
which, by the way,
Belfast.
Rob and I had fun with this, but it is in the top 2% of white sentences that I've ever heard anyone utter. I went to Ireland to see the Lumineers. Like that.
Oh, that's
it sounds like someone that was on that trip knew exactly how much mayonnaise they could carry on a flight. Like that's.
Well, just so you know, I am white.
100%. This is why this always works. No, this always works. We can do this because we can acknowledge exactly who we are. Whenever somebody hears me do that segment that I did with you guys a couple weeks ago, I know who I am. I recognize exactly where I am in the world.
But I think that statement's a little messed up. There were there were about 20 black people there. They were all working the concession stands, but they were there, and security.
100%.
No,
look, bro, hang on a second. In the last 3 weeks, I've seen Sturgill Simpson, the Dave Matthews Band, and Third Eye Blind. Right? Like
I was jealous of you yesterday. I should have went to that.
Oh, dude,
Saturday.
it was so good. Oh my God, it was.
I sat
so
on my ass
good.
at home and did nothing.
Why didn't you tell me? I would have gotten you. Oh, damn it!
I found out that morning that Third Eye Blind was playing. I didn't even realize it was happening, and they're on. I've never seen them live.
Are you serious?
Ironically, they're one of my favorite bands ever that I've never seen. My wife and I just put a list together of the top 10 bands you want to see, and Third Eye Blind was on there, and it's right around the corner of my house, and I didn't realize it was too late.
Oh, it was a good time. I missed Wu-Tang on Friday night. I couldn't make it to that, but yet I was there for that.
So here, I went to the Wu-Tang concert, and then, of course, went to the Lumineers. But at the Lumineers concert, the lead singer's brother died 3 days before the event.
Oh, Jesus.
And so as soon as he comes out on stage, I'm looking at him, and I'm saying something to my wife. I'm going, and either he's had a good time with some weed or whatever. His eyes look like he'd been crying, or, you know what I mean? He had that kind of like glazed over look. And I said, maybe he's under the weather. Something looks off. And then we get towards the end of the concert, and he comes up and he goes, hey, just wanted to tell everybody the news. And if you hadn't heard it, my brother Sammy, he hates being called Sammy, died 3 days ago. We almost canceled this concert. And, but I want to play the song that I played at his wedding. That was his first dance. And it was A Long Way Home.
Oh, man.
He sang it. It's the worst I've ever heard him sing, and it's the most powerful I've ever. He was singing so loud, I think he was trying to get the people in Scotland to hear him. He was crying while he was doing it. It was one of the more emotional moments. I don't think there was a dry eye in the house, man. And, like, it's just such a cool thing I get to see him again in September. But their whole concert was great. Like every song, he jumped in the crowd. He was performing. He was messing with people. I just thought it was a fantastic night. And then to come back and see Wu-Tang, and I don't know if you heard how it went. Run the Jewels was fantastic.
Everybody was going on.
Well, they bring out all the members, right? Everybody has one of their lines or whatever. And then RZA makes it seem like the entire Wu-Tang's there. And he's like, hey, everybody give it up for the Wu-Tang Clan. And the next song starts and Method Man comes out from the floor. And it's like, that's it.
I didn't know
that was a home run.
Dude, I had ODB's son is on this tour and doing ODB's parts.
So the only reason I knew that was ODB's son, maybe before most of the people, is I watched the documentary on ASON. That's ODB.
Yeah.
And you get to see his kids in there, and I mean he's got a lot of them. But there was one of his sons was trying to be a rapper, so I think he did his hair like his dad's, so he looked just like him. I mean, if you're watching from a distance, you thought ODB was there. So.
Oh, man, that's so cool. Oh, it's so cool, dude. I'm really.
The whole concert was great, man. Yeah.
I happen to be I think everybody knows that I'm fairly friendly with Mayor Scott, and like we were on Saturday morning, we were both at the Baltimore 10 miler at 6 a.m. And I like looked at him for a second, and I was struggling because like an idiot, I stayed up and watched the Orioles game on Friday night. I couldn't go to Wu-Tang because it was my son's birthday, and my wife read me the riot act about not being there for his birthday.
You bought him tickets. Wu-Tang's for the kids.
For the kids, of course. It's amazing how unmoved she was by me explaining that to her. But then I see the mayor, and I'm like, hey, you look like you're struggling as much as I am. And all of a sudden, it like hits me like, oh, you went last night. And he was like, yeah, I did.
Do you ever hit him with the Michael Scott song, Hey, Mayor Scott?
What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Yeah,
right.
If I saw him today, I'd be singing that to him.
Oh, my God, man. Oh, my God, dude. Yeah, I'm really jealous that I missed that, man. I am really, really jealous. I only ever saw.
It was good. And while you were having a semi-charmed kind of life, I'm sitting on my ass at home. I should have just went out and found a ticket and came.
God, I would have taken care of that. You and I have to talk more about concert plans. But you're already.
I'm a big concert goer. And I even hit you up about Sturgill.
And I felt terrible because I'd already promised the ticket to somebody else. Now I felt like a.
So that's why I figured you had. So when I sent it to you, I was like, please take whoever you told. Like I'll find a way to see them.
You already have tickets for Mumford and Sons, right?
Yeah, I have a 4-pack for that and a 4-pack for the Lumineers, and then I'm seeing Billy Strings in November.
That's back at the arena, right? They're doing that. It's like almost like a. It's almost sort of becoming like a residency, right? That they're doing that.
Yeah, because his Halloween show has been in Baltimore the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And that's the best show to go to. It sells out so quick, but I got the one for November 1st.
Okay.
The day after.
That's pretty cool, man.
Because I'm not as important.
That's Right. We can get you to the other one, and you're like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
He puts on a good show, man. I'm not even like, I know it's more like jam band stuff when you talk about Billy Strings and Grateful Dead covers and his own tunes. He puts on a phenomenal show.
That's cool, man. That is cool. All right, well, that's all I had for you. Great.
Anything else happen?
Did you like was the idea of the Ireland like are there like particularly romantic things to do in Ireland, or is it just go to the pub?
No. So like, all right. So I'll try to break it down as quick as I can. We spent 3 days in Belfast. That's where we went first. 3 days in Dublin, and then 2.5, 3 days in Galway. Galway, if I could go back, I'd stay there the entire time.
Wow.
Like, it was the coolest. Like, the things that you think about Ireland, everything within walking distance, walking into a pub and there's 3 guys singing an Irish song or whatever, or even covering songs. It's just live music everywhere you go, the nicest people in the world. But when we went to Belfast, it was mainly, it's a lot of learning stuff, man. And there's a Titanic museum. You get to see these great cliffs.
Wow.
And there was this rope bridge that we walked, and some stupid-ass kid was jumping up and down. I wanted to knock him off it. And then we get to Dublin. Because of all the travel, we didn't get to do too much in Dublin, and that's where we had the concert. So it kind of like, I went to the Jameson Distillery, and Galway is kind of where we just laid it all out and just had fun. It wasn't
cool,
about
man.
going to see this or going to learn that. It's
What
like,
about like
where do you guys want to have fun tonight?
Did you kiss the Blarney Stone?
No, because that's in Blarney, and we didn't make it. Everything's like 2 hours away from one another.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, that was kind of the
of all the
bit
places,
we hadn't.
I've never been to Ireland. Like, I've been all over Europe. I've never been to Ireland, man.
So trust me when I say this. Anybody, I would recommend going to Galway.
Okay.
Dublin's fun, but I didn't get to see enough there to really kind of give you an idea of, how great it is and some of the nightlife. But Galway was just, Ed Sheeran was right. There were plenty of Galway girls.
It's cool, man. That is really cool. I'm happy for you. That's dope. All right, I want to give this one to you because we were talking about it earlier on. You have lived here the entirety of your life, correct? Like, you've never moved out of Maryland for a prolonged period of time.
Correct.
So I only did it for a couple of years when I moved to Arizona. And we were talking earlier because young Jake had never – he's from Georgia by way of Virginia. He had never experienced pit beef until a week ago.
Oh.
And I was telling him, like, how I knew when I moved to Arizona that, like, I wasn't going to get crabs. Like, I recognized that was part of it. But
you can. It's just not the same kind.
Yeah, you wouldn't want them. Exactly right.
Oh.
I have – I guess if
seen those or what.
Well, if she's a certain level of attractive, maybe you're like, all right.
Maybe it's worth it.
What was do you remember when Maryland was recruiting Lance Stevenson and there was like a prominent sports writer who compared him to a supermodel with herpes? Like, yeah, I remember we did an entire segment about this on the show. Like, who would you, if you found out they had herpes, right? Like, would Rosario Dawson, like, we had an entire segment, which is, I don't think, a segment we would do in radio at this point. But
I think we should.
I'm not opposed to it. So I swear I moved to Arizona and, like, it never crossed my mind, the thought. I remember asking somebody at the radio station, hey, where do you guys go to get pit beef? And, like, they just looked at me like, what in the ever-loving F are you talking about? Because you just don't think of it. You're like, dude, it's just shaved beef. Like, why wouldn't you be able to just go down to the street corner and go to a pit and get some pit beef? So what would be the thing that you would struggle with the most if your next job was, we're going to pay you $1 million to go do radio in Boise, Idaho or whatever? What would be the thing that you would struggle the most with that you would not be able to have as regularly as you can here?
Murder? No.
I
that's
think,
a good one.
let's be fair, Jeremy. I know we do well in that department, but most other places do too.
Oh, okay. So I can find something. No, you know what? I don't want to be just cliche, but, like, I love crab cakes. I love steamed crabs, but I think I like crab cakes better, less messy, less work. But I love them both, and it's. I think it would be weird not even talking about going to get crabs, or getting a crab cake. And I don't want one of those, hey, Maryland-style crab cakes. That's great with your green peppers and red peppers in it. We don't do that.
God, I told that story too. There was a guy that called into the show that said, hey, I'm from Virginia. I own a place. It was 45 minutes. I had to drive out into well past Glendale, like in the middle of nowhere in Arizona, to go to this guy's that had sworn to me that he could make a Maryland-style crab cake because he was from Virginia and he knew and his place was great. and it was so bad that, Jeremy, I cried. I cried in the car on the way home to this girl that I was dating, and I said, because at that point in my life, I didn't know if I was ever moving back, right? Like, I might have been in Arizona, and professionally, I should have stayed in Arizona for the rest of my life. My life, all they kept doing was giving me raises and opportunities that they're like, hey, do you want to do mornings? And I was 25 years old. I'm like, I guess, like, sure, in a top 10 market. And I was like, no, I'd rather go back and work. Never mind. I don't want to talk. Talk about that.
Don't go down that path. You're gonna make yourself upset again.
Yeah, right. But like I cried because I literally in that moment was like, I don't know, I'm never gonna have the things that I love. Like, it's never gonna happen.
When you brought up pit beef, that was another thing. Like, I would have never thought that you couldn't get that in other places. Like,
you know it's a Baltimore thing, but you just assume it's like more prominent in Baltimore than it is other places, right? Like,
oh, okay.
That's what you assume. Like, you assume that, like, hey, yeah, we love it here, but like it's just beef cooked on a pit. Like, you can do it anywhere. We are the only place that even tries it at all. I'll never be able to understand that phenomenon.
I'm so naive. I didn't realize that the Orange Crush started here. I'm sure you can get those anywhere, but that's another thing.
It's a good question. I don't know if like you go out in New York and order an orange.
You can tell them what's in it and they'd make it, but I don't think you can just order an Orange Crush.
And there's no reason, right? Like, there's nothing about it that's particularly unique to us. It's just the thing that we like. It's a very good. That's a great comparison. It hurt me. It did. It hurt. It pained me. The idea of, or like I remember that a weekend when I moved to Arizona, I went to the grocery store and bought all of the Old Bay that they had, like all of it, because I just needed to have it at home. I remember throwing a tailgate party at a Cardinals game and just like putting Old Bay on everything. Just like, I just need this in my life. Please deal with it. I need this.
What age were you when you found out that most steamed crabs they don't use Old Bay? They use D&M or one of the other ones. But
what is it? Is it J.O.? Is that what it's called?
Is it J.O.? I thought it was G&M. Well, I'm thinking of something else. But you might be right with J.O.
It's J.O. Spice, right? That's what it's called? I'm not crazy, am I?
Well, there are two major ones other than Old Bay. I don't remember what the other one was. I worked at a crab house, and it was just it was one of the first jobs I had washing dishes. And when I watched them make crabs, I'm going, the hell are we doing here?
So, Jeremy,
that's not Old Bay.
I would tell you that I was 18 or 19 years old when I figured that out, and yet I continued to perpetuate the lie. Like, I continued when friends would come to town to have crabs for the first time. Knowing it wasn't Old Bay, I'd still tell them it was Old Bay.
I mean, it's similar, right? It's the same thing. It's just anyway.
It's a weird thing too. They've never paid me a penny. Like, I have no. It's just the. It's a weird bit where we have so much pride in a company that or in a brand that really in no way means anything to me, right? Like, it's just spice, it's just seasoning, but yet it's part of my identity as a human being.
Yeah, and you were one of the first people, because I actually like what you do with trying new things, like new items come out. Let's give it a taste test. Let's give it a number, whatever. Jess from Mix 106.5, our Mix morning show is from San Diego.
I've heard about this. I think they might have stolen this. Well, they didn't actually. I don't think there's any chance they knew we did it, but we actually did this for a little while. We actually, this bit, what do they call it? Two Bay or not Two Bay? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, so they put Old Bay on all different types of things and try it and see if it works.
So for a little while, we did this. We had an intern years ago whose name was Carson, who I love. I think it works for Masson now. Great kid. And this was his idea. Was like, remember that Burger King cheese sandwich that they did? Like, we're gonna put 6,000 pieces of cheese. So we would try these things, and then we actually keep a can. If you're watching on video, over by intern Jake, there's just a can of Old Bay that sits in the studio at all times. We would just take and say, well, maybe it's better with Old Bay. And we would just, no matter what the crap, like, it would be like the Mayo Dogs. We would just say, well, maybe it's better with Old Bay. And we would do that for everything that we tried for.
I think they do like pudding and Oreos and anything you can think of, they put Old Bay on and try.
So this was inspired by, was it the Chargers did the Old Bay Pop-Tart in the schedule video when they were getting ready to play the Ravens. They created a fake, I think they were doing Pop-Tart flavors for every opponent that they played that year. and the Ravens was an Old Bay. It just looked like Old Bay on top of a brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart. And we all immediately had the same response. We were like, yeah, I would. Like 100%. What are you talking about, Chargers? Like, that sounds great. And so we tried it, and I swear to God, we were all like, yep, that plays. That is because people will tell you, like, put it on your watermelon, put it on your
I've had that.
Pine,
the salt works on watermelon.
Right.
Like
or people put tahini on fruit all the time.
Yeah.
And so, like, yeah, put some Old Bay on your pineapple, and you're going to be like, yep, that's a win. That plays 10 times out of 10.
Well, the sweet and salty and, like, even the sour, it all works together. Like, it's weird sometimes when you see, like, even in, like, Mexican dishes, mole, it's, it's chocolate and spices, like, so, and it's weird sometimes when those things work and you have something that doesn't make sense. What's staying away from the Old Bay, because you guys tried all the new stuff. Do you know the worst thing you tried and the best thing of, like, new products?
Oh, with new products? Oh, God. Everybody thinks that
I'm putting you on the spot.
Everybody thinks Rita and I hate everything because we this is the.
Well, you do.
No, this is what's happened. The internet has effed us because all of these people just give everything a high.
Always blaming the internet.
I love Mike Golick Jr. I love you. You're one of my friends. You've been Mike Golick Jr. There's not anyone who's been nicer to me. You don't like everything as much as you're saying you like it. You can't. Like we've just been grown accustomed to the internet saying everything is good because we want the companies to like us so they'll send us products. The internet has ruined this, and Rita and I we will not perpetuate that bit. We will not tell you something's good that's not, so that when we tell you something is good, like we tried the Popeyes pickle sandwich a couple weeks ago, and I was like, this should be great, right? Like the Popeye sandwich is good. Now you're infusing this No, it was mid. It was like everything else. You're making a pickle sandwich, and there's only a faint pickle flavor. Like we're not ordering this sandwich because we want it to be like, oh, I can kind of taste the pickle. We're ordering the sandwich because we want a pickle effing sandwich. That's what we're looking for.
I think Wawa was it Wawa. I hate bashing Wawa because I love everything there.
Yeah.
But and again, like I love Royal Farms. I love Sheetz. I don't have these places where you can pick up something quick.
Yeah.
And get a meal, and it's a decent meal.
Yeah, imagine
and you get
telling
gas.
your grandfather that would have been an option in his life, right?
It's
right?
super easy. But like Wawa had like a fried chicken wrap. They brought back all these wraps, and it was supposed to have like a dill aioli on it. So and then they had pickles on it to go along with it. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah.
You know what it tasted like? It tasted like a chicken with tartar sauce. That's what it tasted like.
No.
And it was so disappointing that it wasn't what I thought it would be.
I think
it was Wawa.
I do these big chip tasting parties with our friends. You've met my friend.
I like that.
Yeah, I the guy that brings the lube to the pig roast every year. We call him Mr. Gatsby because he has a pool and a boat. So Mr. and Mrs. Gatsby always host the summer holidays. So like we do Memorial Day with them.
Is it great? Sorry.
It is. You believe it or not, he's great. Yeah,
moving.
correct. And he always says to me, "Hello, old sport," and I'm like, "Thanks, buddy." So we always do chip tasting parties. Like all of the new potato chips that come out that year, we get together and we try them on Memorial Day and on Labor Day each year. And like this year, the Kettle Brand Chip Company, apparently this is a popular Mexican flavor. It's called Chamoy, CHAMOY, and I made a noise when that chip went into my mouth. I made an audible. Women
good
have not made
audible?
me feel. Oh, good, really good. Yeah. Chamoy flavored kettle chips. Race.
Now I gotta try it.
Race. Rob and I talked about this last week, and I think Rita's actually going to try to bring one in tomorrow when we do the podcast. There is a pizza place in Remington that is making a cheeseless pizza.
Yeah, I saw this.
And like the banner wrote a thing about it and said it will change your life, which to me that's an offensive sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's true. If
cheese doesn't make everything better, like who came
that's
up
what
with
I'm
that?
saying. Like this is what I'm saying. Even if this thing, whatever you want to call this, is wonderful, I will never, ever, ever choose it over a pizza with cheese because it's cheese. It's just better. And I'm offended
but now
by
it makes me want to try it, doesn't it? Doesn't it make you want to try it?
Exactly right. Exactly. This is how I feel now about the subject. I am so... Yeah. They accomplished what they wanted to accomplish with me. They pissed me off, but I have to try the pizza. I have to know what the story is about this.
Yeah, I kept seeing the picture of that thing, that pie with no cheese on it.
It doesn't look all that appealing to me.
It looks like, Grotto's is a little bit different, right? Where they put the sauce on the top. Am I right in that? It's Grotto's?
Yes,
yeah.
Correct. And it's so it seems like there's a little bit less cheese on the Grotto's pizza because it's like that swirl of cheese and sauce, but you also associate Grotto's with being at the beach and having fun, right? Like, so I don't even know how good the pizza is, but you do have romantic feelings about it because you think about all the times you were young and at the beach and, doing insane things. And so I just think we all have romantic feelings about Grotto's pizza because of that.
Well, I can understand that. I think for me, it was probably dough rollers before, it was even Grotto's.
Sure.
I like both.
Yeah, I did love a hangover breakfast at the dough roller, man. That was a 3 o'clock in the afternoon hangover breakfast at the dough roller. It's hard to.
One of my favorite restaurants is down in Ocean City, and I go there. If we go down for a week, I go there 2 or 3 times.
Which one?
Liquid Assets.
I don't think I've ever been.
Liquid Assets.
Where is it?
Oh my God! It's right next. Is it Lombardi's Pizza? Is it in that strip? I think.
Okay. I'm not an Ocean City person. We're very highfalutin now. So we're a Delaware Beach family.
I got you. Yeah. It's still a quick drive up to Liquid Assets. That place is just amazing, man.
Right.
And now they have I think the owner of that, he also put in the barbecue and creamery where they make the drunk milkshakes and they have barbecue called what the hell's the name? I can't think of the name of it now.
I am willing to listen to everything that you're saying, and I'm willing to explore.
And it's not that far. They're both right there on the main street there.
All right. On Coastal Highway. All right.
Yep, Coastal Highway. I couldn't think of the name.
I will. How deep? Because I can convince my wife to go about as far as 75th Street anymore. Like about.
Oh, you're right there in the range for both.
Okay,
of them.
all right.
Like I don't know the street. If you made me guess, I would say 67th or 65th.
So this is a very random thing about my wife. Like if we get a night to ourselves at the beach where like her mother's like, I'll take the kids, I can convince my wife to go to a hookah bar. I know that's we're in our 40s, but like when we were younger. We really liked, our friend Katie Brown introduced us to hookah. And my wife.
That surprises me.
Yeah, right? My wife enjoys, like, the laid back, go play Uno at a hookah bar. So I was at the beach one year and searched and realized the only hookah bar was in the inlet. Like, it was that far. And I started driving towards it from Delaware, and my wife was, like, screaming by about 40th Street. What are we doing? Why are we? She's not 75th Street. That's about her expiration. Like if I say I'm going to take the kids to get on the go-karts at the Jolly Roger, she's like, "You're going to do that by yourself." I have no interest in joining you for that.
What's perfect for us now because in going down there, my in-laws just moved to I think Rehoboth area.
Okay.
But close enough to where like everything's within distance, and it's like now that we used to spend like a ton of money to get a place down there for a week.
Yeah.
And now it's like, hey, if you want to pop down for 2 days, maybe we go see one of those concerts. We don't have to worry about the rest of the night.
That's cool.
So.
That's cool. Come with me to see the Counting Crows. Drive down. The Counting Crows are playing at the beach in Delaware. And
with Gaslight?
Yes, and my wife won't
go.
We're
talking about that. We're talking about that concert. My buddy's going.
My wife will not go with me. She's just not interested. And she doesn't want me to take one of my sons. So I'm either going to go by myself like a loser, which I'm willing to do.
I'll go.
Oh,
what
man.
day is it?
It's like the second Tuesday of July, I want to say.
Oh, it's perfect. No, I have a major throat surgery in August.
I have lots of questions.
It's not as great as you think it might be. But,
okay, Marilyn Manson, tell me more.
Yeah, I got my lower ribs removed.
Yeah,
like
right. I don't blame you.
No, so I have. I mean, I think I've talked about it. I have trouble sleeping. I have sleep apnea, severe version. I tried the CPAP, and apparently I'm one of the 10 to 15% of people with sleep apnea where their throat closes side to side instead of like your soft palate and your tongue. You get what I'm saying? Like,
oh God.
So they want to shave. This sounds awful. They want to shave down the inside of my throat. And my doctor said it would be the worst sore throat you've ever had for 2 to 3 weeks. He goes, you're going to MF me. You're going to hate me. And he's the nicest guy in the world. And the biggest thing for me is I'm such a baby when I'm sick. I deal with like pain well. But when I'm sick, and the worst thing with me is sore throat. And if I'm going to have it for 2 weeks, I'm going to be miserable. So I got to have that surgery August 26th.
And you're such a baby that the Dolphins make you cry. Like that's
true too. Yeah.
That is wild, dude. That is wild. Like, that sounds awful.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't dreading it. I almost just want it to be over today, but I'm going to miss it. I don't want it to bleed into football season.
All right, we've officially done the entire segment and didn't mention anything related to sports, so let's end it here. Thank you, Jeremy. What's coming up on the show? What's coming up this week?
Well, it'll be all three of us there together finally in studio since Ed had come back. Rob was on vacation and then went out to the West Coast with the Orioles, and then me going to Ireland. So we're back for a bit. Should be fun. Obviously, with the Orioles and Tigers, we'll get to see some good pitching and I think the Angels come in this weekend. So how are you feeling about them?
I'm in a weird place. I was not as excited as everyone else was by the 6-game win streak because it
just puts you more in purgatory.
It's sort of, but it really is more like I don't think these teams are very good and I need to see it. And then you lose 2 out of 3 to the Athletics and you're like, I need to see something dramatic. If Adley Rutschman's last week is a turn, if Adley Rutschman is becoming Adley Rutschman again, that is as valuable to me as anything that could happen to this baseball team. So
I don't wish injury upon anyone, but I'm happy we get to see an extended look at Kobe Mayo to see. And again, it's not going to tell you the full story on the kid. He could have a horrible year this year and still be a perfectly fine player. He could rake and then end up sucking. We don't.
You're right. At the same time, I wanted to see an extended look at Heston Kjerstad, and now I don't want to see any more Heston Kjerstad in my life. I hate.
Oh, you're done with him.
I hate that I feel this way, but I don't know if you were watching the games while you were over there.
I couldn't see. So we're 5 hours ahead. So a 7:00 game is midnight.
Yeah, it's tough. If I have to watch Heston Kjerstad try to catch a fly ball again in my life, I'm going to lose my effing mind.
I saw him make some diving catches, and I'm like, I wonder if he could have got to that. He had a better jump.
It's bad, man. I hate that I feel this way because, great guy, and I want him to be better, but I cannot watch Heston Kjerstad play baseball right now. It is painful.
Well, I said it was interesting. Nobody's brought up Kyle Stowers in almost a month. So
there is that. And,
I mean, Norby's been hitting the ball. This is such a weird thing, though. I know you want to get out of that. I don't want to root for these guys to fail so I feel vindicated by
and I certainly don't feel good about Corbin Burns getting hurt. That doesn't – this is the other thing, too. Just because Corbin Burns got hurt doesn't make me say, the Orioles really won that one. Look at the pitching they have.
I was talking about that earlier, and I was saying for me, it's not a matter of pointing out, saying, see, if we signed him, he got hurt. It's the fact that when you sign pitchers to long-term deals, when they're in their late 20s or 30s, this happens a lot.
It does happen a lot, but you still have to have pitching. You can't This is the eternal, we can't sign this pitcher to this number because he could get hurt, and we can't draft pitchers with the number 2 pick because they might get hurt, leaves you in the situation where you didn't do either of those things, and your pitcher still got hurt. The pitchers you got still got hurt. Pitchers get hurt. That's part of it. You still have to use assets on pitching, or else you don't have any. It's we were so close.
Man. The problem is, and again, I'll leave with this, but when I say baseball purgatory, it's okay, do we sell everything?
Yep.
Do we go for it?
Yep.
Something tells me they're probably going to be about 6 games out or 7 games out at the trade deadline, and then you got to bite the bullet and figure out what you want to do.
And I think the answer is they're going to have anybody who they don't think they can sign, they're still going to have to trade. I would say even if they're 4 games out, people won't like this, but if you're not signing Zach Eflin at the end of the year, which I think you should, but if you're not,
I don't think he wants to. I think he wants to go back to Tampa.
I think you're right.
He's a Florida guy, and that's been the rumor all along.
That's an awful lot of money for them to pay for a pitcher, though, right? That.
Yeah.
It just seems unlikely for them to do that. All right. I love you. J-Con Sports, that's how you follow him. ConcreteLocks.com with 2 N's as always. Big Bad Morning Show, 105.7 The Fan. Thank you, buddy. Welcome home. We'll talk next Monday.
We'll talk soon about some concerts.
I love it, man. See you, bud.
All right.
Jeremy Conn with us here on GCR. I realized I never got to Jair Alexander this morning. Released. Sure. Everybody's talking about, I don't know why. I guess because he and Lamar were teammates at Louisville. And there's some connection there. I don't, and because we still think the secondary is an area where the Ravens could still add a veteran before the season begins, but you would think they would be more inclined to try to add a safety than they would a corner. Did I see that somebody was working out at safety at OTAs last week that we didn't expect? One of the corners was maybe working out a little bit at safety. Yeah, right?
Jalen Armour-Davis.
Jalen Armour-Davis was working out at safety. I'm not a no, but I guess this is the eternal thing that we always have. It's at what cost, considering Jair Alexander has barely played the last couple of years. If you think you're getting Jair Alexander, there's a reason why he's just being released. They attempted to trade him. Nobody was trading for him because you don't know if he's going to be able to play. Now, at a number, I'm all for more secondary. And the lottery ticket that maybe he's a facsimile of Jair Alexander. But if there's a bidding war, not a chance in hell. No. Jermaine Pratt got released today, too, by the Bengals.
Really?
Dude, literally can't play defense. And they released Jermaine Pratt, which is a weird bid. But, hey, man, I'm not here to tell them how to do their business. All right. Let's come back in. We'll get a tidbit. We'll get tubular. We'll wind things down for a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at DriveEasyMD.com.
Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses make golf fun and affordable. All 5 local courses, Pine Ridge, Mount Pleasant, Forest Park, Carroll Park, and Clifton Park, are challenging and fun for players of all skill levels. Book your tee time today at classic5golf.com.
Celebrate 60 years of America's favorite muscle car at Live Casino and win a new Ford Mustang. Earn entries daily and enjoy revved-up specials across our restaurants and bars all June. Cruise in Saturday, June 28th, and be one of 25 players to win cool trips, hot prizes, or a new Ford Mustang. Hit the gas at Live Casino at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and on the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the long road back from Tommy John surgery for Orioles closer Felix Bautista, as well as Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Also inside, we learn more about new Maryland basketball coach Buzz Williams from the players who have played for him at other stops. Plus, evaluators around baseball chime in on Orioles' top prospect Samuel Basayo. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, winding down for a Monday edition of the program. Jake's got a decent idea. He thinks we should invade Delaware, which is aggressive, but he might have a point here. Now, but do we blame Delaware, or is this our F-up? So for those that don't, first of all, this came up at trivia like 2 years ago when the question is, what's the official state drink of Maryland? And everyone said the Black-Eyed Susan because you just that seemed to. And the trivia girl was like, everybody got this one wrong. And we were like, oh, it's
or
an
everyone
orange,
got it right.
Or it's an Orange Crush. Like, of course. She was like, no, it's actually milk. Like, which is the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened. And so, for what it's worth, maybe Kevin Willard was right to get out. Like, it's so deeply embarrassing. that our official state drink is milk. And like you can say, well, they wanted to throw a bone to all the dairy farmers. I'm like, get the F out of here. We can do better than that. Now, that being said, they're differentiating drink from cocktail, right? Like when they say drink, they're not. Apparently,
so it's Coors Light. Actually,
we didn't even have an official state cocktail. It didn't exist. Which again, the surprising part about that is that it wasn't the Black Eyed Susan, which you would only ever drink at Pimlico. Like nobody actually. Or for like a Preakness watch party.
Well, you should drink
Nobody
it more.
actually drinks Black Eyed Susans during the rest of the year. A Black Eyed Susan is a fine beverage. I'm not even throwing shade at a Black Eyed Susan, but it's just not a beverage that you consume unless you are at the track or watching the race with friends and they are specifically throwing a themed party. But you would have still expected it to have been the official state cocktail because of the association with the Preakness. Alas, we did finally get around to making our official state cocktail, the Orange Crush, and Jake tells me that apparently Delaware had scooped us on this. Delaware had stepped in how many years ago?
We did it. June 1st is when it started for us.
Correct.
Let us see when Delaware did it.
Delaware said, well, if you are guys, and look, everybody goes down to like what are those bars down there? The Starboard and what are the other Dewey bars that everybody always goes to?
Dewey's too far outside. I don't
Delaware.
That deep.
Where do you go?
Bethany.
Bethany doesn't have any bars. It's the family beach.
I know. What's wrong?
It's where
with
we
that?
go.
Just drink on the beach.
Okay, so Delaware designated it in August 2024, and Maryland designated it in June 1st,
So did
2025.
they know that we were preparing to make our move, or did we make our move as a counteraction to Delaware's move? Because truth be told, I might not be able to be angry at them. We just might have effed up here. Delaware might have just stepped in and said, look, man, if you're not gonna, we need to step up and do something. So then it's hard for me to be mad at Delaware for doing the right thing.
Because here it says it was reportedly invented in Ocean City at Harborside Bar and Grill in 1995, so 30 years later.
Well, I mean, it didn't really spread. It didn't come like into the Baltimore metro area, I would say, until the mid-aughts. Mid to late aughts is when the Orange Crush began to be more and more prevalent at local establishments. It started with like those, like the bars on the water that you would go to. What's the one that just closed that made me so angry?
Was it BJ's?
No, not did BJ's close?
I thought it.
No, there's another one that just the one that we Sunset Cove just closed. Like it would start at those places, like the bar restaurants that are like people would drive their boats up to in like Baltimore County, and then it sort of spread from there. You go to like what's the place? Oh my! Why is my brain not functioning today? I can never think of the name of anything anymore. What? I don't know what's happened to me. The restaurant that's at Loch Raven, like it's a hangout spot. They got great crushes at this place. The hell is that?
Like right up the road?
It's the one really right on the water. Like I used to get drunk with Zach from All Time Low there, and then we would raft back to his house.
Wow.
Straight shoot. That's a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Love that guy. Miss him. Miss that house. That was a great house to have. And he had to move to Hawaii. His band was so wildly successful that he's like, I'm just gonna move to Hawaii.
Not Fagers Island.
No, Fagers Island. I'm not talking about here, not there. Here.
Oh, in Towson.
Yes.
Okay, I thought I said that, and then you went back to Ocean City. You know,
no, I didn't. What are you talking about going back to Ocean City?
No, you like started talking about Ocean City.
What?
Again.
All right, we've lost.
I know. I think we are.
The point was we should. Jake thinks we should invade Delaware.
Oh, okay.
Because they
and win Delaware back.
C-blocked us on having our official state cocktail because they took it first. I would just say we know we do it better. Like we're okay.
Yeah.
We're okay. And it's our failure that we didn't jump ahead of them. That's on us. That's not on them. You have something to say?
John said that the best food in OC is always Thrashers.
Well, I mean, nobody's going to argue with it's like the Thrashers, Dumpsters. Like, you go to Thrashers for fries, you go to Dumpsters for ice cream. Like, that's the play when you're in Ocean City. I am split on the dough roll. I think the Grotto's pizza is better than the dough roller pizza is, but I also, again, when I was a younger man, getting old dough roller hangover breakfast at 3 p.m. was a pretty good time. Like, I have a lot of romantic feelings. I also one day, during the pandemic, Mrs. Clark and my younger son got an ear infection.
Poor
and
guy.
was feeling terrible, and so they left the beach, and my older son and I just stayed, and we went to the dough roller one day. We went go-karting. We did the things that dudes do. We went go-karting, dough roller, a hooker's blow, registered to vote, the whole thing. Like
Nice.
we did. It was a dude day.
It was a very
We're
productive afternoon.
sitting at, I don't remember how old he would have been. He was born in the 50s, so he would have been 5 years old at this time. So we're sitting at the dough roller, and we're just eating pizza, and all of a sudden he looks up at me, and he just says, "Dad, are you proud of me?" And I started bawling inside. I've been telling a lot of crying stories today. I started just bawling at this dough roller in Ocean City because my son looked up, and he said, "Dad, are you proud of me?" And I was like, "Yes, son, I love you."
This would have been a big moment. You're supposed to say no, I think.
So I have romantic feelings about the dough roller because of that too.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I also I always say this. I don't know how good. By the way, the place the pizza place in Bethany and that one little strip where that you go for everything because it's the only strip.
Oh yeah.
The pizza place we ordered a pizza from when we first the first night you get to the beach when you're still setting up the house, like you haven't gone to get any food yet, you haven't hit a grocery store, so you want to order pizza, and it was a Saturday night, and we ordered one large pizza. What do you think the price of that one large? Oh, and a salad. I think I got it. Large pizza and a
throw the
salad.
salad in.
What do you think the price of the bill was for that one large pizza and salad?
$36.
Oh, you wish.
No, it couldn't have been more than
Over
that.
50?
Oh, over 60.
Bro.
For one large pizza and a salad.
It's Armin's Pizza.
I don't remember the name of the place. I couldn't.
That's the only
my
one.
life on the line.
I mean, I always go to Grotto. It's always Grotto.
You're thinking of Main Street. I'm thinking of that one shopping center, like that one.
Like before you
like
get
across the street from Sea Colony. There's that giant shopping area that has like a Rite Aid, or I guess it's it's got a Walgreens in it, and that's where you go for everything. It's got that Boatyard restaurant that everybody likes. It's actually
Boatyard.
pretty good, yeah. It's got another restaurant in the back, and I don't remember the name of that. What is it?
Finn's is the restaurant.
Finn's is the other restaurant.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Finn's is good fine, yeah.
It's fine. It's got a little Italian joint in there, and that
that's
little
Armin's.
Italian joint is where you order the pizza from.
Yes.
And that was a nightmare.
Just because I think I've only ever been there like once.
And by the way, I think we also got delivery, which is asinine because we were staying at Sea Colony. We were across the street. And I'm pretty sure that was part of the reason why we paid as much as we did for the pizza.
The old $10 delivery fee on a Saturday
it might have been
night
like a
at the beach.
$25 delivery fee for all I know. It was outrageous. Because that was one where I was like, I'll take care of this. And then I got the I'm like, what the? I used expletives. There's also a little candy kitchen in that shopping center.
Yeah.
Which is not as nice as some of the other candy kitchens because it's very small. But when you just need to pacify your kids and be like, all right, fine, we can get some fudge. It works. And there's an ice cream place that I swear to God we go to twice a day. I don't know.
Twice a day. That's too much.
The beach rules are insane. At my house, my kids will have dessert, or they'll have lunch on a Saturday, and they'll say to my wife, like, "Can we have dessert?" And she's like, "No, you don't have dessert after lunch. You know better." At the beach, I don't know what happens, but like we have like some yogurt for breakfast, and all of a sudden my wife's like, "All right, now it's time to go for ice cream."
Whoa. You hit the dump button.
What the fuck? We go. I don't know how to explain it. We make 16
This is the
trips
beach. It's the beach.
to the
dude.
ice cream shop. And then what happens is if we do go into like
It's like
the
the purge. Everything's legal.
If we go into the Main Street area to do something else, like to do anything else,
They got the bike shop there. Yeah.
we end up at the other ice cream shop that's right there.
Oh, you
we
head
end up at the
head up to the Bethany
and
Boardwalk.
that one's a big one because they call one of their ice cream flavors. It's like a graham cracker, Graham Slam.
Oh, and Graham is
So
all over that one.
my older son, whose name is Graham, is like, I'm obviously going to have to get the Graham Slam.
They named an ice cream scoop after him, yeah.
And then they discovered there's an arcade right there by the Candy Kitchen, and that on Main Street. The little indoor putt-putt place on Main Street, I like. It's a neat little indoor. It's very old, but it's like on the second floor on Main Street in Bethany. I don't know why
Just
we're doing
further
this.
up the road. Yeah,
Still a
I
month
don't know
away
if I
from
know
going
that
to the
one.
beach. I don't know why we're spending this much time talking about beach
Well, I'm
things.
getting excited.
I don't want to ruin
now,
all my
though.
beach content. Everybody loves my beach content every year. Everybody gets a
just,
kick out of my beach
you
content.
can just reuse it.
1 year. The pandemic year might have been the height of my because I wrote. I did it by numbered my observations, and I was hearing from people that I should write a book.
Oh, now I can't wait to go to the beach. May have to take the week off.
I have
May just
lots.
go.
I have lots of opinions about the beach. You never know where
Alex basically knows what he's doing. He can fill in for this week.
You
right?
don't know. You don't know where any of your things are. You never know. At home, you know exactly where you put your wallet, exactly where you put your keys, exactly where you put your phone.
I lose my laptop while I'm at the beach. I'm like, what?
When
the
you
hell?
go to the beach, it's chaos. You have no idea where anything is. Anything.
That's why I bring as little as possible.
You're in a 3-bedroom condo. There's only so many options for where these things could be. And you don't know where anything is. Nothing. It is utter and complete chaos. My phone could be anywhere. It could be in with the tent at the beach. It could be in the car. It could be anywhere. My wallet, for F's sake. Keys? Go days without needing keys. You have no idea where anything is when you go to the beach. No clue. The worst was when we stay at a condo, it's not quite as bad. We borrowed our friend's house in Bethany 1 year. I think the pandemic year because the condo people were being weird. I get it. So we stayed at our friend's house, and that's a 2-story house that had 5 bedrooms in it. They probably still have some of my underwear. They probably still have.
Well, they're lucky.
And it's you go on a trip somewhere else. It doesn't. You know where everything is. When I was staying in Indianapolis for the last fall, I knew where all my stuff was.
You're right. We are spoiling this beach content at 12:36 on a Monday.
Yeah, what are we doing? Let's wrap up. Thank you.
John said the tomato pie is a Philly thing, apparently.
But I don't think this is a tomato pie.
Okay.
I think this is just a cheeseless pizza. It's very hard to explain what this is. I think the word is.
John is. I can't catch up, John. I'm sorry.
I love you, pal.
Yeah.
I love you. You know that.
He also said crushes were around OC in the 80s. The 80s.
He remembers having them at Bull on the beach.
For what it's
really?
worth.
I mean, you know what? You were around in the 80s, John. I can't argue.
I was not.
I was around in the 80s, but I was not drinking in Ocean City in the 80s, so I cannot speak to whether or not it existed in Ocean City in the 80s. All right, what are we going to do? Oh, we want to do a tidbit? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, I guess so.
Tidbit is brought to you today by County Sports Zone. All summer long, anything you need to know. As there's news, coaching changes, stuff that gets you ready for fall sports season. You can find it at countysports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. And before it's gone, get this print issue of Press Box, and it will be gone soon. We're about a week out from the brand new issue of Press Box, so these are the final days for this one with Felix Bautista, Tyler Wells, and Kyle Bradish on the cover.
Sorry, one of the PFF Sean's wants to know the final verdict on Jair Alexander. We're in. We want him. Or
I said, what happened? What were you listening to?
You were saying you don't want to get in a bidding war,
I'm
right?
saying at a price, I would take Jair Alexander.
You don't want to go all in.
I'm not hopped up about it because he doesn't play.
Okay.
So at a number, absolutely. You roll the dice that at worst you're getting a depth piece, and at best you're getting someone who finds
Ronald Darby.
Yeah, Ronald Darby was a god. Didn't Ronald Darby just announce his retirement last week, if I saw correctly? 2 years ago, he was a godsend to this football team. So at a number, yeah, I'd say sure. But if you have to pay real money for it, you can say, hey, well, the Ravens have salary cap space. This is not a good bet at this point on Jair Alexander. The likelihood is he's
still 28. I mean, yeah, I know.
He
I know.
Barely plays. Again, at a number, absolutely. But at a number, and by the way, this might be the type of thing where if he really is that as close with Lamar, and I don't know, we haven't seen a Lamar hanging out with Jair Alexander
recently
that I know of. I don't stalk Lamar's social media.
Yeah, I thought you covered the team.
Yeah, thank you. I don't. But like if this is a favor to Lamar, like it's what I said about Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham wasn't really worth $15 million, but he was worth. It was obviously a different situation where you were trying to appease Lamar to just get him to sign the contract and get the process over with. But there is always I'm willing to do a favor for Lamar sometimes because he's Lamar Jackson. You don't have a franchise without him, and if that costs you an extra $2 million, okay, I'll live with that. But even if you get him, I have no expectation that you're getting the guy who we all thought was one of the best cornerbacks in football a couple years ago. There you go.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander now has scored the most points through a player's first 2 career NBA Finals games, 72 points.
I was moving my head a lot when I was doing that. That was a weird. I don't know what was going on there.
While you were talking about
I think I'm hopped up on T.
There it is. 72 points. Do you know who he surpassed? The previous record was 71 points through a player's first 2 career NBA Finals games.
LeBron.
Not LeBron.
Jokic.
Not Jokic. Got to go back to 2001.
Kobe?
Nope. The counterpart in that series, yeah.
2001.
Yes.
The 2001 finals were Lakers. Oh, Allen Iverson?
Allen Iverson had 71 points through his first 2 career finals games. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 72. So he now holds that distinction for most points.
How about it?
Yeah, well, what a stat there.
There you go.
I found an account on Twitter that I guess you should probably follow, Glenn. It's @OptaAce. And they just, all weekend, they were just sharing, really all week, they were sharing just a ton of different tennis tidbits here.
All right.
I'll try to rattle off the best ones I found. So Alcaraz had never won a best-of-5 match in his career after losing the 2 opening sets before yesterday. He was 0-8, now 1-8. Jannik Sinner is the first player in the Open era to win the first 20 sets of a men's singles Grand Slam and not win the title. He won his first 20 sets and did not win.
The only way to do that is exactly you have to win every match in straight sets and then win the first 2 sets of the championship.
Coco, first player to win a women's major since versus the world number 1 after losing the first set since 2005.
Okay.
So that was when
2005.
She went down to the number 1 and then came back to win.
She went down to the number 1 and came back to win.
It happened to be at Wimbledon in 2005.
So 2005. That wasn't a Serena versus Venus, was it?
No, it was not Serena versus Venus, but one of them was involved.
2005. Well, it could have been either one of them at that point.
Which one?
2005 was Venus.
Yes, Venus. She did. She went down a set versus the number 1 at the time, and then came back to win.
That's why I was. The number 1 at the time was.
Let's just give it to you.
The number 1 at the time was Maria Sharapova.
Not Sharapova.
Not Serena. Justine Enna.
Nope.
Kim Clijsters.
Nope.
Lindsay Davenport.
Lindsay Davenport was the number 1 at the time.
I don't know why I don't remember that final.
Well, Venus won it.
I don't remember why I don't remember that.
It was the first time it happened at Roland Garros since 1999 when Steffi Graf came back. She was down against Hingis.
Martina Hingis,
and then came back to win.
Okay.
Just the second time first time it's happened at the French Open since 1999.
All right.
For Coco Gauff. And then only 5 times in the Open era, the French Open champion lost the first 2 sets of the final and then came back to win.
Only 5 times in the Open era.
So 6. So it's now 6. So 5 times before yesterday it happened.
Really expecting me to remember who.
Yeah. Can you name it? All right. It happened twice in this millennium. Include 1999 and 3 times.
Okay.
The most previous 3.
Well, this is the problem: is that Nadal did not fall behind by 2 sets much.
Nadal not involved in any of these.
It's hard to even think of
a final without Nadal.
Wait, so I'm going to assume that one of them is Novak.
Yes.
Just because he's one of the few people that's actually won a few French Opens. Novak. Novak's French Open titles are so immemorable because they weren't against Nadal. I kind of am struggling with who he beat. The couple years ago, Tsitsipas.
Yes, Tsitsipas. He went down 2-0 to Tsitsipas and then came back to win.
I did not
2021.
know that he fell behind 2-0, but yeah.
2021 was when Novak did that. And then you got to go to 2004.
So that would be Moya?
Not Moya.
That would be Gustavo Kirten?
No.
Gaston Gaudio?
Gaudio in 2004 went down 2 sets and came back to win against Coria.
Oh, Guillermo Coria. Okay.
Yeah, sure. And then in 99.
Oh, in 99 was Agassi.
Yes,
yeah.
Agassi.
So that was Agassi, Andre Medvedev.
Yeah, I thought it was Daniil Medvedev. I was like, wow, he's been around a long time.
Andre Medvedev.
Yes, Andre Medvedev.
Who they had on the desk, he looks great, man. You're like, Jesus Christ.
Agassi? Or?
No, Medvedev. I mean, Agassi
they were
looks fine.
They were both on the desk?
Medvedev was just a guest on the desk.
Oh, okay.
Like, he wasn't an analyst.
1984, it was Lendl.
Okay.
Came back to win against McEnroe, and then
right.
1974 was Borg against Orantes.
Borg won a lot of French Opens.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And then and then I was gonna switch to a baseball one.
3 in the afternoon.
All right, then we can call it.
Can we get Can we get tubular?
Make sure you have it unmuted.
And yeah, then we will call it. Let's get tubular.
Okay, everybody, it's going to be quick today.
What was the main focus today, Coach?
Fundamentals, ball control. It's always huge.
Any early thoughts on the competition this year?
Well, look, this is the best of the best players in the world. It's going to be an amazing tournament.
Tournament?
Yeah, the BMW Championship at Caves Valley. What are you guys talking about? All they ever ask me about is football.
All right, here's what's coming up tonight, totally tubular-wise. No Orioles, no NBA Finals, but a Game 3 in the I don't know why the website didn't update. That's concerning. I don't like that.
You're trying to find the non. Well, there is nothing, right?
No.
That's right. We have Stanley. We have Stanley tonight.
Yeah, correct. I guess this.
That's all that matters.
Why did this never get posted? I don't like that. All right. Anyway, this is a problem.
I guess that and Raw.
I'll deal with it. Settle down.
The Raw after Money in the
Settle
Bank. It's a big
down.
one.
My God. Jesus. Get these boys all hopped up on sugar. And,
I could go for some sugar.
That's another problem altogether. All right, yeah, Stanley Cup Final Game 3 tonight, 8 o'clock on TNT and True TV. Series shifts to South Florida for Oilers and Panthers. Baseball, Marlins Pirates 6:40 and Mariners Diamondbacks 9:40 on FS1. Friendly right now on FS2 between Liechtenstein and Scotland. And then
go Licks.
World Cup qualifying Italy and Moldova at 2:45. Be nice if Italy would get in the World Cup for a change. Netflix, WWE Monday Night Raw at 8 o'clock. And that is it. Non-sports.
Neil deGrasse Tyson and William Shatner and the Doobie Brothers will be on Stephen Colbert.
They are plugging the Stanley Cup Finals.
Really?
Yeah, well, William Shatner is a famous Canadian, so that makes sense. Yeah.
Gotcha. So he's big on Edmonton.
Yep.
American Ninja Warrior.
Is Michael McDonald back in the Doobie Brothers? Are they touring with Michael McDonald? Because if they are, I would go to that.
You're asking the wrong
Jeremy
guy.
and I would go to that.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Get on
I'm
that.
sorry.
Get me answers.
They just released a new album.
But
I knew
is Michael McDonald in the band?
Come on, you're your music guy.
What?
Old McDonald?
Oh my God!
I can't answer that question.
Mike.
Sorry.
Thank you for not.
Mike
helping.
McDonald is the coach of the Seahawks clan.
I hate
okay,
guys
are
more
you?
than
I don't know.
Possibly describe.
I don't know if you know what you're talking
I think he
about.
played LSM for Loyola.
How many Mike McDonald's can we? Who's going to be the king of the Mike McDonald's?
I really hate you. Just finish the thing.
Robert De Niro, Weird Al, and your favorite Arcade Fire will be on Fallon.
There's nothing that we as a country like doing more than giving a problematic band that isn't very good prime real estate. Jesus.
It's Fallon. He puts
Christ.
everybody on. The BET Awards are tonight, hosted by Kevin Hart.
I assume that we were nominated in multiple categories.
Oh,
at
really?
the BET
Yeah.
Awards.
I hope so. Well, I guess we'll find out.
I'd like to think.
And then another great show. This one's another docuseries about you on TLC. It's called Virgins.
Ah. Aha.
That's at 9 o'clock tonight on TLC.
Joke's on you. I am a confirmed 2-time sex haver.
Wow. Well,
confirmed.
Then why are you all over the promos for this show on
2-time
TLC?
sex haver. So you thought you were so clever. Like, I don't have Spawn running around. I got receipts, baby. I have had sex at least 2 times.
Congratulations.
2 times more than me.
Maybe more. You never know.
Alex is going to be on this show then.
Possible. It's possible it was more than twice. All right, very good. Thanks today to Jeremy Conn. Thanks to Pam Shriver. Thanks to Keith Gatlin and to Mike Bordick. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the
Galveston
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. So tomorrow.
Let's go, man.
Thanks to everybody
let's go.
at Pressbox,
Let's go,
all of our
Max.
great sponsors and partners, including Game Day Men's Health, Live Casino and Hotel. BMW Championship Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, Baltimore's Classic 5 Golf Courses, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Costas Inn, Maryland Sports, your local Toyota dealer, BuyAToyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and